Ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause for our chief guest for the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, I request everybody to kindly settle down. Kindly take your seats as we begin today's formal proceedings. Thank you. Give a huge round of applause as we welcome our special guest for the evening, Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Shri Devendra Fadnavis ji. Thank you. I request everybody to settle down as our guests are visiting the stalls. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our special guest for the evening, Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Shri Devendra Fadnavis ji, Honorable Minister of Coal and Mines, Shri G. Kishan Reddy sir, Honorable Minister of State for Coal and Mines, Shri Satish Chandra Dubey ji. I request all dignitaries to please join us on the dais. Please give a huge round of applause, everyone. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Ministry of Coal, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome all distinguished guests, industry leaders, investors, policymakers, financial institutions, and stakeholders gathered here today for this landmark roadshow on coal gasification. Today's program marks another significant milestone in the Government of India's ambitious 37,500 crore initiative to promote coal gasification. भारत आज ऊर्जा सुरक्षा, औद्योगिक आत्मनिर्भरता और सतत विकास के एक नए युग की ओर अग्रसर है। इस परिवर्तनकारी यात्रा में उद्योग, सरकार और निवेशकों की साझेदारी सबसे महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाएगी। आज का ये आयोजन केवल एक रोड शो नहीं है, ये भारत के औद्योगिक भविष्य को नई दशा देने वाला एक महत्वपूर्ण मंच है। We are truly honored by the presence of eminent dignitaries who are shaping India's industrial future. I welcome you all, sir. I request all the dignitaries to kindly join us for lamp lighting. May I request all present in the hall to kindly rise for the national song followed by the national anthem.
अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा। तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे। गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
Thank you everyone. Kindly take your seats. I now request Shri Alok Kumar Singh, Advisor Projects, Ministry of Coal, to please come on the dais and welcome our dignitaries. Please give a round of applause as we welcome Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Welcome to you, sir. Please give a round of applause as we welcome Honorable Minister of Coal and Mines. We welcome you, sir. Once again, please give a huge round of applause as we welcome Honorable Minister of State for Coal and Mines. We welcome you, sir. Please give a round of applause as we welcome Secretary, Ministry of Coal. Welcome, sir. Please give a round of applause as we welcome Additional Secretary and Nominated Authority, Ministry of Coal. Welcome, ma'am. Please give a round of applause as we welcome Additional Secretary, Ministry of Coal. I now request Honorable Minister of Coal and Mines to please honor Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Once again, a very hearty welcome to you, sir. I request Honorable Minister of State for Coal and Mines to honor Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Thank you, everyone. To set the context for today's deliberations and outline the transformative vision of Ministry of Coal, it is my privilege to invite Shri Vikram Devdutt, Secretary, Ministry of Coal. Under his leadership, the ministry has been actively driving reforms and initiatives aimed at promoting coal gasification, value addition, and sustainable industrial development, Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Shri Vikram Devdutt sir.
Namaskar. Good afternoon, Honorable Union Minister for Coal and Mines, Shri Kishan Reddy ji, Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Shri Devendra Fadnavis ji, Honorable Minister of State for Coal and Mines, Shri Satish Chandra Dubey ji, my colleague additional secretaries on the dais, senior officers from Ministry of Coal, Coal India Limited and other ministries of Government of India, senior officers and other officials of Government of Maharashtra, and most importantly, our co-travelers on this journey of coal gasification, all the stakeholders who have taken out the time to be here this afternoon, a very warm welcome and thank you to each one of you. To set the context, as you are all aware, the Union Cabinet had approved a more ambitious scheme for promotion of surface coal and lignite gasification projects on 13th of May 2026. This is the third in the series of roadshows to interact with industry to delineate the framework and contours of the scheme with specific reference to the outcomes which are desired by the Government of India. And it is only appropriate that the grand finale is here in Mumbai, the financial capital of India, a city that has long embodied the nation's entrepreneurial spirit, industrial dynamism, and economic ambition. Mumbai is home to some of India's leading industrial houses, financial institutions, and investors, making it a fitting venue to discuss an initiative that is central to India's industrial future. Friends, the best way to predict the future is to create it. That is why we have gathered here today. One of the most consequential, significant industrial initiatives launched by the Government of India is not merely about gasifying coal. It is about building new industrial capabilities, strengthening India's energy security, advancing Atmanirbharta, reducing import dependence, creating high-value manufacturing opportunities for downstream products, and unlocking the immense potential of our domestic coal resources for a cleaner and more diversified industrial future. Today in Mumbai, we look forward to an equally meaningful and productive engagement as we have had in the last couple of roadshows. The success of this mission will depend not only on government support, but also on the vision, investment, innovation, and execution capabilities of all the stakeholders of industry. Together, we have an opportunity to co-create a new industrial capacity, strengthening India's manufacturing ecosystem, generating employment, and moving very decisively towards a more self-reliant future. After all, the true economic strength lies not merely in what a nation consumes, but in its ability to produce what it cannot afford to be without. The Government of India's efforts at coal gasification have been hugely complemented by the states, and Maharashtra has been the pioneer under the inspiring leadership of Honorable Chief Minister in rolling out a scheme of incentives for cluster-based gasification projects. The level of complementarity which is seen in both the schemes makes it a very attractive proposition for any prospective investor. As we all know, we have an abundance of coal reserves. Coal gasification is a technology which is a cleaner use of coal, and a range of products, DRI for the steel sector, ammonia, ammonium nitrate, methanol, hydrogen, ethanol, and sustainable aviation fuel are the possibilities which we are looking at. Every single one of these products is currently imported by India in substantial amounts and at a significant cost. Each can instead be produced from our own coal on our own soil. So this scheme is not merely a financial incentive. It is a declaration of combined, collaborative, national resolve. India's determination to convert what lies beneath its feet into freedom from geopolitical uncertainties above its head. The technologies for surface coal gasification are commercially proven globally. This scheme is technology agnostic. Each developer will get to choose what technology best suits their feedstock and product targets. We specifically encourage development of indigenous technologies tailored to India's high ash content coal so that we not only deploy indigenous technologies, but over time, own it and master it. Looking at the topical context, the West Asia conflict has made abstract vulnerabilities very concrete. The Strait of Hormuz, whenever it comes under pressure, India feels it immediately. The import bill for products which coal gasification can substitute stood at about 2.77 lakh crores in the financial year 2025. At the current rate of growth, it is projected to reach 3.65 lakh crores by 2030. 50% of our gas comes from LNG imports. We import 85 to 90% of our coking coal. 10 million of our 40 million ton urea demand comes from outside. Every rupee spent on these imports could instead stay in India, create jobs, and build capabilities. The scheme is India's answer. Not panic, not prayers, but a program. As you're all aware, the Union Cabinet had approved an earlier scheme on coal gasification in January 2024, and I'm happy to inform that under that scheme, projects have been approved. 8 projects specifically, 6,000 crores committed, 65,000 crores in investment to be mobilized, utilization of about 12 million tons of coal, and 16,000 crores in import substitution. The groundbreaking has already happened for 4 projects, including projects in the Chandrapur hub of Maharashtra with the active support of Honorable Chief Minister and the state governments. As the coal gasification ecosystem is taking root in India, project by project, product by product, ton by ton, Honorable Prime Minister, through his vision, indicated that this is an inflection point where we need to be more ambitious in what we need to do. Hence, the new scheme before you is an outlay of 37,500 crores of incentives across a range of products. Long-term coal linkages of 30 years have been approved, aligned with project life cycles. Expected investment mobilization is about 2.5 to 3 lakh crores, with the majority of it coming in the Chandrapur cluster of Maharashtra. As you're all aware, friends, we have worked in a collaborative approach, and it was our commitment in the presence of Honorable Union Minister for Coal and Mines in the first roadshow that as we go through this series of roadshows in 3 weeks, we would be floating a draft RFP for incentives under the scheme. We have opened the RFP for stakeholder consultation. We have also extended the time, and I implore all of you that please give us your valuable feedback, because we want to co-create a RFP and a scheme which serves the purpose for which it is designed. So in today's roadshow, we have also invited the financial community. So the banks are very critical players in a project. So you would know as a public person that banking institutions are traditionally conservative. And this is a new area which involves some headwinds. It involves a huge capital investment. It involves technologies which are complex, and it involves an element of risk-taking, which is why the government has come forward to anchor this entire initiative. So my appeal to the bankers here is that I want you to see this not merely as a government scheme, but as a well-structured project pipeline. Every project under this scheme, as I mentioned, is backed by a 30-year assured coal linkage, providing long-term fuel security. The financial incentive of up to 20% of plant and machinery is disbursed in 4 milestone-linked installments, ensuring accountability at every stage of the project implementation. Critically, the financial incentive is explicitly not treated as equity contribution of the project. So while the CapEx support is coming from the central government, a lot of the initiatives which Maharashtra have included both fiscal and non-fiscal incentives under their state policy, capital subsidies, reimbursement of state GST, exemptions from electricity duty and stamp duty, and employment-linked incentives will substantially lower the OPEX cost of these projects. And these incentives are available in addition to and do not restrict access to the central scheme initiative. So the state and the center have joined hands to be a force multiplier in this scheme. And the Ministry of Power is also coming out with a proposed 20,000 crore CCUS mission, on which we have a separate presentation by NTPC today. So if you are contemplating carbon capture and utilization technologies as part of the project, you will get additional incentive for that as well. Every project sanctioned in this scheme will have ramifications far beyond what we can envisage today. The joint commitments of the central and the state governments by presenting a range of initiatives and incentives is the bedrock of this scheme. My appeal to the PSUs, the private sector, the technology providers, and financial institutions present here, I extend an open and sincere invitation. Partner with us. The opportunity is unprecedented. The need is urgent. The support is generous. And the time is now. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful address and for laying out the opportunities that lie ahead. It is now my privilege to invite the Honorable Minister of State for Coal and Mines. His leadership continues to strengthen India's efforts towards resource efficiency, sustainable growth, and industrial transformation. May I request the Honorable Minister to kindly address the gathering.
आज रोड शो में मंचासीन महाराष्ट्र के माननीय मुख्यमंत्री श्री देवेंद्र फडणवीस जी, माननीय केंद्रीय कोल एवं खान मंत्री श्री जी कृष्ण रेड्डी जी, कोल सचिव विक्रम देव दत्त जी, अपर सचिव श्रीमती रुपिंदर बरार जी, सनोज झा जी, CMD नवेली, पी प्रसन्ना जी, इस कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित पत्रकार बंधु, आप सभी को मेरा नमस्कार है। यह दौर हमारे देश के ऊर्जा के इतिहास में बड़ा और महत्वपूर्ण है। हम सब यह भारत की ऊर्जा के क्षेत्र में न केवल आत्मनिर्भर बनाने बल्कि हमारे भविष्य को सुरक्षित करने के लिए साझा संकल्प के साथ जुटे हैं। हमारे दूरदर्शी आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की ऊर्जा सुरक्षा की जुड़ी नीतियां हम हमेशा से इस बात पर केंद्रित रही है कि भारत दुनिया की उथल पुथल से दूर रहकर अपने पैरों पर खड़ा हो सके, आत्मनिर्भर बन सके। हाल ही के दिनों में दुनिया में जो घटनाएं घटी है उसे ध्यान में रखते हुए हमें ऊर्जा के क्षेत्र में विदेशों पर अपनी निर्भरता कम करना चाहिए और सिर्फ आर्थिक जरूरत ही नहीं बल्कि हमारे देश की सबसे बड़ी रणनीतिक प्राथमिकता बन चुका है। इसी सोच को जमीन पर उतारने के लिए केंद्रीय मंत्रिमंडल हाल ही में सतही कोयला और लिग्नाइट गैसीकरण परियोजना को बढ़ावा देने के लिए 37,500 करोड़ रुपया एक ऐतिहासिक योजना की मंजूरी दी है। यह सिर्फ एक सरकारी बजट नहीं है बल्कि यह प्रधानमंत्री जी का आत्मनिर्भर भारत बनाने के सपने को सच करने की दिशा में एक मजबूत कदम है। मुझे यह बताते हुए गर्व हो रहा है कि इस बड़े विजन से हमारी उद्योग जगत और बिजनेस जगत में बहुत बड़ी शानदार उत्साह देखने को मिल रहा है और मिल सकता है। इस योजना के बारे में जागरूकता फैलाने और लोगों के इस अवसर से जोड़ने के लिए मंत्रालय पिछले 2 रोड शो कर चुका है, एक नई दिल्ली में और दूसरा हैदराबाद में, और आज महाराष्ट्र की बारी है। उनकी सफलता का यह सबूत है कि देश की औद्योगिक नेतृत्व इस आत्मनिर्भरता के अभियान में सरकार के साथ कंधे में कंधे मिलाकर चलने के लिए पूरी तैयार है। हमारा भारत बहुत ही भाग्यशाली है कि प्राकृतिक ने हमें दुनिया में सबसे कोल भंडारों में से एक दिया है। कई सालों से हमने कोयला को केवल इस्तेमाल मुख्य रूप से बिजली बनाने के लिए करते आ रहे हैं, लेकिन अब माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की नीतियों के मुताबिक हमारी सरकार कोयले के इस्तेमाल स्मार्ट और स्वच्छ कीमती ऊर्जा उत्पादन करने पर केंद्रित कर रही है। हमारा लक्ष्य बहुत सीधा और साफ है। उर्वरक, ईंधन, केमिकल, मेथनॉल, अमोनिया और यूरिया जैसे चीज़ों के लिए विदेश से महंगे आयात पर निर्भर रहने के बजाय हम अपने देश के कोयले का इस्तेमाल करके भारत में इनका उत्पादन बढ़ाएंगे। इनसे केवल पैसा बचेगा नहीं, बल्कि औद्योगिक ढांचा को मजबूत होगा। और इस वादे के साथ सरकार 2030 तक 100 मिलियन टन कोयला गैसीकरण का एक बड़ा राष्ट्रीय लक्ष्य तय किया है। इस लक्ष्य को पाने के लिए हमारा हौसला हमारे पीछे अनुभव से आता है। इस योजना के प्रथम चरण में 8500 करोड़ रुपया आवंटन किया गया था कोयला गैसीकरण के लिए, और जिसमें 8 महत्वपूर्ण योजना लिया गया था। इसमें लगभग हम 6000 करोड़ रुपया खर्च कर चुके हैं। इस योजना के अनुभव से उद्योग जगत की बड़ी दिलचस्पी को देखकर ही आज हम इस दूसरे और बड़े चरण में कदम रखे हैं, जहां 37,500 करोड़ रुपया की नई योजना की प्रोजेक्ट आर्थिक मदद और पारदर्शिता माहौल देगी। इस नई पहल से देश एक नए प्रोजेक्ट शुरू होने की उम्मीद है, जिससे केवल औद्योगिक विकास बल्कि हमारे कोयले क्षेत्रों में आर्थिक रूप से पिछड़े इलाकों में रहने वाले लोगों के लिए बड़े पैमाना पे लगभग प्रत्यक्ष अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से 50,000 लोगों को रोजगार देने का मौका मिलेगा। और खास करके मैं महाराष्ट्र के सीएम साहब को बधाई देता हूं, धन्यवाद देता हूं कि आपने इतना मजबूती ढंग से आपके साथ आज जो ज्वाइंट मीटिंग हुआ है भारत सरकार और महाराष्ट्र सरकार के साथ, आपने जो अपने पदाधिकारी लोगों को गाइड किया है, इससे उम्मीद है आपका सबसे पहले देश के अंदर गैसीकरण पे अगर कहीं हम संचालन कर पाएंगे तो मुझे उम्मीद है कि महाराष्ट्र से शुरू होगा। और मैं उम्मीद करता हूं महाराष्ट्र सरकार को जो करना होगा बड़ी तेजी में करेगा, और भारत सरकार भी करने के लिए तैयार है। दोनों सरकार मिलकर, और जो पहला प्रोजेक्ट अगर शुरुआत कहीं उद्घाटन के रूप में करने का मौका मिलेगा तो मुझे उम्मीद है कि महाराष्ट्र से होगा। ऐसे भी कहने में कहीं शंका नहीं है कि बीजेपी की ही सरकार यानी एनडीए गठबंधन की ही सरकार यानी मोदी जी की सरकार, जहां अपने एनडीए गठबंधन की मुख्यमंत्री हैं, जहां शिलान्यास होता है वहां उद्घाटन भी होता है। पूर्व की सरकार केवल शिलान्यास करती थी, उद्घाटन नहीं करती थी। इसलिए मैं कह सकता हूं गैसीकरण एक हम लोग का ड्रीम प्रोजेक्ट है। आत्मनिर्भर अगर भारत को बनाना है, आत्मनिर्भर बनना है, तो निश्चित रूप से योजना को बड़ी फोकस के साथ, बड़ी जिम्मेदारी के साथ इस काम को हम सब लोगों को पूरा करना होगा। उसमें महाराष्ट्र पहला पावदान पे होगा। इसी शब्दों के साथ आप सभी लोगों को, जितने उद्योग जगत से आए हैं, जो भी इसमें पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं, सभी को मेरे तरफ से अभिनंदन और शुभकामना है कि आपके जीवन में आप बेहतर कर सकें और देश हित में, राष्ट्र हित में अगर आप बेहतर कर सकें। इसी शुभकामनाओं के साथ बहुत बहुत बधाई, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir, for your very inspiring address and your insightful words. Ladies and gentlemen, the coal sector today stands at the heart of India's energy security, industrial growth and economic development. आत्मनिर्भर भारत से विकसित भारत की यात्रा में कोयला क्षेत्र की भूमिका अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण है। Under his visionary leadership, the sector is witnessing unprecedented reforms, innovation, and investment opportunities. It is now my distinct honor and privilege to invite the Honorable Union Minister of Coal and Mines to address this august gathering. Please welcome the Minister.
Respected Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Honorable देवेंद्र जी, कोयला मिनिस्ट्री में मेरा साथी सतीश चंद्र दुबे जी, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के कोल मिनिस्ट्री के सेक्रेटरी श्री विक्रम देव जी, एडिशनल सेक्रेटरीज रुपेंद्र जी, सनोज कुमार झा जी और सभी इंडस्ट्रीज़ के साथियों, महाराष्ट्र सरकार के गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के सभी अधिकारीगण, सभी फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशंस, रिसर्चर्स, स्टाफर, इनोवेटर्स, सभी PSUs के पैटर्न्स, सभी टेक्नोलॉजी प्रोवाइडर्स, सभी respected delegates, I extend heartiest welcome to all of you at the 3rd Coal Gasification Roadshow here in India, financial capital of Mumbai. In past 1 month, we have successfully organized 2 roadshows in Delhi, Hyderabad, and more than 200 industry patrons and 100 organizations have joined in these events. Today, financial capital of India, headquarters of major corporate companies, historical city, we have come together in Mumbai, a city famous for this cutting chai, its fast-paced local trains, and its ability of transforming ideas into mega industries. If Delhi is the heart of India, Hyderabad is innovation capital, then Mumbai is the unstoppable energy of India. We reached out the industry partners in all these states. I believe if we are able to convince Mumbai, we are able to convince India. So here we are here at Amchi, Mumbai. Mitro, the unstoppable energy has already seen in Maharashtra government's work adopting coal gasification. महाराष्ट्र उन लीडिंग राज्यों में से है जिन्होंने सरफेस गैसिफिकेशन के लिए लैंड, पावर और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की अवेलेबिलिटी इंश्योर करके एक अनेबलिंग एनवायरनमेंट तैयार किया है. डायनेमिक चीफ मिनिस्टर महाराष्ट्र विकास के विजनरी माननीय देवेंद्र फडणवीस जी का मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं. इनके लीडरशिप में महाराष्ट्र क्लीन एनर्जी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और टेक्नोलॉजी को बहुत बढ़ावा मिला है. महाराष्ट्र is uniquely positioned to emerge as a leading hub for coal gasification. The state already have 5 coal gasification projects. Western Coalfield, which has a annual coal production over 6 million tons. Western Coal Limited provides a strong resource base to support the growth of vibrant coal gasification ecosystem through close collaboration between industry and government in Maharashtra state. मित्रों, मैं दिल से धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं और आशा करता हूं कि आदरणीय देवेंद्र जी का डबल इंजन सरकार और इंडस्ट्री के जॉइंट एफर्ट से महाराष्ट्र को कोल गैसिफिकेशन के क्षेत्र में देश के लिए एक मॉडल रूप में विकसित हुआ है. मित्रों, we today, India holds a world 5th largest reserves of 400 billion tons of coal. आने वाले 60-70 साल के लिए ये कोयला देश के उपयोग में पर्याप्त है. India today is the world's second largest coal producer. India today the world's second largest coal consumer. Our Coal India Limited, world the biggest coal company है. India having a largest coal mine, Gewra in Chhattisgarh. More than 70% of our power demands met from coal thermal projects. About 55% of our total energy mix from coal. And the same time, we are moving rapidly to achieve the largest becoming net zero economy by 2070. These figures show the potential of opportunity, the need of the challenge matrix of coal in our economy. Here coal gasification plays very important role. Coal gasification is India's pathway achieving long-term energy security and building sustainable circular economy. मित्रों, कोल के गैसिफिकेशन के द्वारा हम इथेनॉल प्रोडक्शन करते हैं. इथेनॉल से हम हाइड्रोजन निकालते हैं. हाइड्रोजन को फ्यूल सेल्स में, रिफाइनरीज में, स्टील्स में, इंडस्ट्रीज के लिए उपयोग कर सकते हैं. जो सिन गैस से मिथेनॉल प्रोडक्शन करते हैं. मिथेनॉल को फ्यूल, केमिकल्स, प्लास्टिक्स में यूज होता है. सिन गैस से अमोनिया यूज होता है, उपयोग निकाल सकते हैं. उससे फर्टिलाइजर प्रोडक्शन बढ़ा सकते हैं. वैसा ही सिन गैस से यूरिया, जो एग्रीकल्चर फर्टिलाइजर के लिए मेन प्रोडक्ट होता है. जो सिंथेटिक नेचुरल गैस भी एसएनजी भी डोमेस्टिक एंड इंडस्ट्रियल फ्यूल के लिए उपयोग होता है. और सिन गैस से डीएमई, डेमेथल, जो एलपीजी सब्स्टिट्यूट के लिए उपयोग कर सकते हैं. वैसे ही सिन गैस से डीजल प्रोडक्शन कर सकते हैं. उससे ट्रांसपोर्टेशन फ्यूल को सबको यूज़ होता है. और पेट्रोल भी उसके साथ साथ एविएशन फ्यूल और पावर जनरेशन जैसे अलग अलग सेक्टर में, जो आज जैसा हमारा सेक्रेटरी जी बताया, जब हम इंपोर्ट करते हैं ये सब प्रोडक्ट्स, इसका सस्टेनेबल और भारत का जो कोल धरती पे निकलता है उसके द्वारा इंपोर्ट सब्स्टिट्यूट कर सकते हैं. मित्रों, इंडिया स्पेंड्स नियरली 3 lakh crore for importing all these key industrial inputs such as natural gas, ammonia, methanol and urea. Coal gasification can help reduce the dependence by converting our domestic coal into these all vital inputs, the power, agriculture, industry and manufacturing. That is why coal gasification is centrally to India's energy security, industrial growth and Atmanirbharta. The National Coal Gasification Mission has the target of converting 100 million tons of coal into syngas till 2030. First phase, we are now the 8,500 crores, and second phase, today we are on the roadshow, 37,500 crores. Total amount is 46,000 crores. Incentive scheme will further accelerate investments and a large scale in coal gasification projects across the country. To ensure that the scheme reflects the needs and expectations of our sector, the request for proposal, the RFP, has been placed in the public domain for stakeholders' consultation and feedback. The success of this mission ultimately depends on the active participation of industry and investors. Industry and investors are the backbone of the scheme, and I urge you all to own up this scheme and make it a success. I welcome your suggestions, ideas, even complaints. We look forward to working together and making this a huge success. मैं सभी इंडस्ट्रीज जो कॉन्फिडेंस और एंथुसियाज्म के साथ आगे आ रही हैं, प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में पिछले 12 वर्षों में किए गए निरंतर प्रयासों पर का रिफॉर्म्स जो करते हैं, रिफॉर्म्स का ही ये परिणाम है। इन वर्षों में भारत ऐसी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स एंड इंडस्ट्रियल फ्रंट को एनवायरनमेंट तैयार किया गया, वो ट्रांसपेरेंट है, प्रेडिक्टेबल है, रेस्पॉन्सिव भी है, अकाउंटेबल है, इजी ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस पर आधारित है। मित्रों, इन लास्ट 12 years the size of our economy has more than doubled in terms of GDP, 3 times increase as per capital income. Forex reserves have more than doubled, almost to 75% of increase in total annual exports. These achievements, we created the digitally and energy backbone that is power India's industrial growth, manufacturing expansion and journey towards विकसित भारत। पिछले 12 वर्षों में जो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी और रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी को क्षेत्र में हिस्टोरिक रिफॉर्मेशन देखा है, कोल गैसिफिकेशन एनर्जी सेक्टर को रिफॉर्म्स के साथ नेक्स्ट मेजर फेस बन चुका है। आज मित्रों, आज एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी, फूड सिक्योरिटी, इंडस्ट्रियल सिक्योरिटी, स्ट्रैटेजिक सिक्योरिटी और इकोनॉमिक सिक्योरिटी ये दिशा में आगे ले जाने वाला एक मेजर स्टेप है ये कोल गैसिफिकेशन। प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में पिछले 12 सालों में जो रिफॉर्म्स किया गया, उन्होंने कोल गैसिफिकेशन के लिए एक हेड स्टार्ट दिया गया। आज इस कोल गैसिफिकेशन इवेंट में महाराष्ट्र सीएम माननीय देवेंद्र जी आज समल निकाल कर हमारा बीच में आए हैं। मैं कोल मिनिस्ट्री के द्वारा देवेंद्र जी को हृदय से मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं। आज वैसा ही इंडस्ट्रीज, कॉरपोरेट्स, इन्वेस्टर्स, सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स से मैं अनुरोध करता हूं, कोल गैसिफिकेशन का ये ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन जर्नी के लिए इस भागीदारी बने और हम सब मिलकर एक विश्वास के साथ इस कोल गैसिफिकेशन आगे ले जाएंगे। मैं सबको हृदय से मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं, जो भारत सरकार पहली बार इतना बड़ा कोल मिनिस्ट्री के साथ इतना बड़ा इंसेंटिव स्कीम लेकर एक विश्वास के साथ देश के हित के लिए, देश के भविष्य के लिए, देश को विकास करने के लिए, देश में रोजगार बढ़ाने के लिए, देश में मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हब बनाने के लिए, जो इम्पोर्टेंट डिपेंडेंस कम करने के लिए जो कोल गैसिफिकेशन का स्कीम लाए गए, मैं सबसे अनुरोध करता हूं, हम सब मिलकर इस स्कीम को सफल बनाएंगे, सब देश को विकास बनाने में सब साथ देंगे। मैं इस शब्द के साथ फिर एक बार आप सब लोगों को मैं हृदय से स्वागत भी करता हूं, धन्यवाद भी देता हूं। जय हिंद।
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for your inspiring vision and transformational roadmap for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, Maharashtra has long stood at the forefront of India's economic growth story, serving as a beacon of industrial excellence, innovation, entrepreneurship and investment. महाराष्ट्र केवल भारत की आर्थिक राजधानी का घर नहीं है, बल्कि ये देश की औद्योगिक प्रगति और विकास की धड़कन भी है। The state's remarkable progress is a reflection of visionary leadership, progressive governance, and an unwavering commitment to development. It is now my privilege and honor to invite the Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Shri Devendra Fadnavis ji, to address this distinguished gathering and share his vision for Maharashtra's continued leadership.
भारत सरकार के मंत्री माननीय जी किशन रेड्डी जी, मिनिस्टर ऑफ स्टेट श्री सतीश चंद्र दुबे जी, हमारे मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कोल के सचिव श्री विक्रम देव दत्त जी, एडिशनल सेक्रेटरी श्रीमती रुपेंद्र बरार, एडिशनल सेक्रेटरी श्री सरोज कुमार झा, यहाँ उपस्थित सभी महानुभाव, इंडस्ट्री पार्टनर्स, इन्वेस्टमेंट पार्टनर्स, इंस्टीट्यूशंस, उपस्थित बहनों और भाइयों, मैं सबसे पहले आप सभी का इस रोड शो में बहुत स्वागत करता हूं और भारत सरकार का आभार व्यक्त करता हूं कि कोल गैसिफिकेशन के क्षेत्र को प्रमोट करने के लिए भारत सरकार ने इस रोड शो का आयोजन देश की आर्थिक राजधानी मुंबई में किया। मैं ऐसा मानता हूं कि दिस रोड शो बिलोंग्स टू मुंबई, और ये मैं इसलिए नहीं कह रहा कि मुंबई इज़ फाइनेंशियल, कमर्शियल एंड एंटरटेनमेंट कैपिटल ऑफ इंडिया। मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूं कि कोल गैसिफिकेशन की पुरोधा ये मुंबई रही है। इन 1862 1862 में मुंबई में बॉम्बे गैस कंपनी की स्थापना हुई थी और मुंबई के परेल में बॉम्बे गैस कंपनी ने कोल गैसिफिकेशन की शुरुआत की थी वे बैक इन 1862। और उस समय जो भी टेक्नोलॉजी हीटिंग करके और रॉ टेक्नोलॉजी थी, उसके आधार पर इस मुंबई में 450 किलोमीटर की गैस पाइपलाइन बिछाई गई थी। और उस समय ये जो गैस यूज़ होता था, ये मुंबई को लिट करने के लिए, मुंबई में स्ट्रीट लाइटिंग के लिए इसका इस्तेमाल होता था। और तकरीबन 120 इयर्स, 120 साल इस कंपनी ने काम किया। और 1982 में चूँकि बड़ी प्रिमिटिव टेक्नोलॉजी से चीज़ें चलती थी, तो इट वाज क्वाइट पॉल्यूटिंग, इसलिए उसको बंद किया गया। लेकिन आज भी ये जो 450 किलोमीटर की पाइपलाइन बॉम्बे गैस कंपनी ने डाली थी, अब ये पाइपलाइन हमारी नई ऊर्जा यानी फाइबर ऑप्टिक उसका वहन करती है। और 450 किलोमीटर की इस पाइपलाइन में मुंबई में अब फाइबर ऑप्टिक का जाल चलता है। तो मैं ऐसा मानता हूं कि इतिहास अपने आप को दोहराता है और वही कार्य अब हो रहा है। हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में हमारी कोल मिनिस्ट्री के माध्यम से अब नए तकनीक के साथ हम लोग फिर एक बार कोल गैसिफिकेशन के क्षेत्र में कदम रख रहे हैं। जैसा हम सभी लोग जानते हैं कि आज हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने आत्मनिर्भर भारत और विकसित भारत, ये दो मंत्र हमको दिए हैं। और विकसित भारत की ओर जाने का रास्ता ये आत्मनिर्भर भारत की ओर से जाता है। और विकसित भारत बनाने के लिए सबसे महत्वपूर्ण कोई चीज़ होगी तो एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी है। एनर्जी के क्षेत्र में आत्मनिर्भरता तैयार करना, यही विकसित भारत का सबसे बड़ा कार्य है। और आज हम लोग देखते हैं, जैसे हमारे सेक्रेटरी साहब ने, मिनिस्टर साहब ने कहा, 2-2, 3-3 लाख करोड़ रुपया हर साल हम लोग एनर्जी सोर्सेस पे उसको इंपोर्ट करने में खर्च करते हैं। इसके कारण देश की अर्थव्यवस्था पर एक उसका परिणाम होता है। हमारी निर्भरता अलग अलग देशों पर जब होती है तो जिस समय सप्लाई चेन्स डिस्टर्ब होती है, युद्धजन्य परिस्थिति होती है, ऐसे समय सप्लाई भी डिसरप्ट होता है और कीमतें भी आसमान को छूती है। ये तो ठीक है कि हमने एक ऐसे प्रधानमंत्री को पाया है कि जिन्होंने युद्ध के समय भी हमारी सप्लाई चेन्स को मैनेज करते हुए, जब पूरी दुनिया में तेल और गैस की किल्लत हुई, ऐसे समय भी हमारी आपूर्ति को और आपूर्ति की श्रृंखला को कहीं पर भी खंडित नहीं होने दिया। लेकिन उसकी जो कीमत हमको चुकानी पड़ती है, वो कीमत कहीं ना कहीं हमारे देश में इन्फ्लेशन को तैयार करती है, हमारे देश की विदेशी मुद्रा को समाप्त करती है और कहीं ना कहीं एक प्रकार से जो हमारा विनिमय का दर है उसको भी बढ़ाने का काम करती है। इसलिए मैं ऐसा मानता हूं कि उसी आत्मनिर्भरता की ओर जाने के लिए प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो टारगेट सेट किए, जहां एक और क्लीन एनर्जी की दृष्टि से हमारे देश में चाहे वो सौर ऊर्जा हो, सोलर एनर्जी हो, विंड एनर्जी हो, उसके साथ साथ अलग अलग प्रकार से रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी के सोर्सेस को टैप करना हो, इसके ऊपर बहुत बड़ा कार्य हुआ। और मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जो प्रधानमंत्री जी ने हमारे देश में 500 गीगावाट ऑफ क्लीन एनर्जी ये टारगेट 2030 के लिए सेट किया था, हम लोगों ने ऑलरेडी 283 गीगावाट पार किया है और शायद 2029 में ही भारत 500 गीगावाट के टारगेट को पूरा करते हुए दुनिया में अपनी मिसाल कायम करेगा। लेकिन केवल सोलर एनर्जी में नहीं, तो हर प्रकार के रिन्यूएबल में भारत सरकार ने अलग अलग प्रकार से जो व्यवस्थाएं खड़ी की और फिर ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन तक जो अलग अलग पॉलिसीज तैयार हुई, मैं ऐसा मानता हूं कि उन पॉलिसीज के कारण हम लोग स्वच्छ ऊर्जा की ओर, आत्मनिर्भरता की ओर बहुत तेजी से आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। और उसके साथ साथ प्रधानमंत्री जी का यह सबसे विजनरी, मैं ऐसा मानता हूं, कदम है कोल गैसिफिकेशन का। भारत जिसके पास 400 बिलियन टन्स का कोल का भंडार है, दुनिया के सबसे बड़ी 5वीं कोल के भंडार वाली हमारे देश की व्यवस्था है, ऐसे समय मात्र उस कोयले को एनर्जी में, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी में कन्वर्ट करने के लिए या कुछ मात्रा में इंडस्ट्रियल यूज के लिए हम लोग यूज कर रहे हैं, उसको गैसिफिकेशन के माध्यम से और डिराइवेटिव्स के माध्यम से एक नई अर्थव्यवस्था में परिवर्तित करने का ये जो विजन है, मैं ऐसा मानता हूं कि आने वाले दिनों में और आने वाले दशक में दुनिया इस विजन को एक प्रकार से इसका लोहा मानेगी और आत्मनिर्भर और विकसित भारत में सबसे बड़ा मील का पत्थर अगर कोई साबित होगा तो कोल गैसिफिकेशन का ये जो प्रोग्राम भारत सरकार ने हाथ में लिया है, ये साबित होगा। क्योंकि हम लोग जानते हैं कि कोल गैसिफिकेशन के माध्यम से, जैसे मंत्री जी ने बताया, इथेनॉल, मीथेन, यूरिया, ये सारी चीज़ें तो हम करते ही हैं, लेकिन सबसे बड़ी बात इसमें कार्बन कैप्चर, यूटिलाइजेशन एंड स्टोरेज, ये जो व्यवस्था है, ये हमारे देश के पूरे औद्योगिक परिक्षेत्र को बदल सकती है और हमारे उद्योग में बड़े पैमाने पर शाश्वतता और सस्टेनेबिलिटी ला सकती है। हम लोग जानते हैं कि आज हम जब कोयला जलाते हैं और हमारे करीब करीब सारे देश में हमारे ऊर्जा का बेस लोड ये कोयले से आता है, और उससे हम जितना प्रदूषण करते हैं, आज हम गैसिफिकेशन में जाते हैं और उसके साथ साथ कार्बन कैप्चर, यूटिलाइजेशन एंड स्टोरेज में जाते हैं, तो हम लोग हमारी क्लीन एयर एश्योर कर सकते हैं, हमारे कोयले से जो प्रदूषण होता है उसको समाप्त कर सकते हैं, और कार्बन कैप्चर के कारण जो हम लोग इस सारे औद्योगिक क्षेत्र में एक प्रोडक्ट की रेंज खड़ी कर सकते हैं, मैं ऐसा मानता हूं उससे हमारी अर्थव्यवस्था बदल सकती है। आज यहाँ पर कुछ बहुत अच्छे स्टॉल्स भी हम लोगों ने देखे कि जहाँ पर कई टेक्नोलॉजीज को शोकेस किया गया है। मैं ऐसा मानता हूँ कि बदलते भारत की तस्वीर ये कोल गैसिफिकेशन के माध्यम से तैयार होगी, और भारत सरकार ने पहले 8,000 करोड़ रुपया और उसके बाद 37,000 करोड़ 37,000 करोड़ रुपया अलग अलग प्रकार से इंसेंटिव के रूप में इस पूरे बिजनेस को डी रिस्क करने के लिए, मैं ऐसा मानता हूं कि भारत सरकार की सारी नीतियों में इतना अपफ्रंट इन्वेस्टमेंट भारत सरकार पहली बार कोल गैसिफिकेशन में कर रहा है। मैं सारे इंडस्ट्री को और इन्वेस्टर्स को कहना चाहता हूं कि कोल गैसिफिकेशन को भारत सरकार ने जितना डी रिस्क किया है, शायद ही दूसरा कोई क्षेत्र होगा कि जिसमें इतना डी रिस्किंग सरकार कर रही है। एक प्रकार से सरकार आपकी पार्टनर बन रही है, और ये पार्टनरशिप ऐसी है कि जिसमें सारे अधिकार तो आपके पास है, लेकिन रिस्क ये भारत सरकार ने शेयर की है। और मुझे इस बात की खुशी है कि महाराष्ट्र में भी हम लोगों ने इस नेशनल प्रायोरिटी को समझकर इसमें हमने भी भारत सरकार के समकक्ष हमारी नीति तैयार की। ये कॉम्प्लीमेंट करने वाली नीति है, चूंकि हमारे वेस्टर्न कोलफील्ड्स के कारण और विशेष रूप से हमारा जो विदर्भ का क्षेत्र है, ये क्षेत्र देश के कोल बेयरिंग क्षेत्र में से एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण क्षेत्र है। इस क्षेत्र में आने वाले दिनों में बड़े पैमाने पर लोह खनिज होने के कारण एक स्टील की इकोसिस्टम तैयार हो रही है, और कोल गैसिफिकेशन और स्टील की इकोसिस्टम मैरी कर ले तो हम लोग दुनिया में एक प्रकार से बहुत बड़े ग्रीन स्टील मैन्युफैक्चरर के रूप में और ग्रीन स्टील एक्सपोर्टर के रूप में एक बहुत बड़ा कार्य कर सकते हैं। उसी के चलते महाराष्ट्र सरकार ने भी इसका फर्दर डी रिस्किंग किया है, और हम लोग कैपिटल सब्सिडी से लेकर अलग अलग प्रकार की सब्सिडीज इसमें दे रहे हैं। और मुझे बहुत खुशी है कि आज 4 प्रमुख इंडस्ट्रीज ये महाराष्ट्र में ऑलरेडी आ चुकी है। इसको थर्ड सेक्टर का हमने दर्जा देने के बाद बीपीसीएल और कोल इंडिया, हमारी जो 2 बहुत महत्वपूर्ण पब्लिक सेक्टर कंपनी है, ये भी महाराष्ट्र में विदर्भ में आई है। न्यू एरा क्लिनटेक है जिसका स्टॉल यहाँ पर लगा हुआ है, ग्रेटा एनर्जी है, अडानी है, और उसके साथ साथ कई अलग अलग प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं कि जिन्होंने ऑलरेडी इसकी शुरुआत ये महाराष्ट्र में की है। और जैसा राज्य मंत्री जी ने कहा, हम ये प्रयास करेंगे कि नई नीति के अंतर्गत जो पहला उद्घाटन हो वो महाराष्ट्र में किस प्रकार से हो, इस प्रकार का प्रयास हम करेंगे। ऑलरेडी हम लोगों ने 2000 एकड़ जमीन इसके लिए आवंटित कर दी है, और भी ज़मीन हम लोग एक्वायर कर रहे हैं। ज़मीन का प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। हमारे MIDC के माध्यम से हम लोगों ने जो एक मैत्री पोर्टल तैयार किया है, ये वन स्टॉप शॉप है जहां पर सारी परमिशंस हम लोग एक लिमिटेड समय में दे रहे हैं। कहीं पर भी कोई परमिशन के लिए, किसी NOC के लिए किसी को भटकने की आवश्यकता न पड़े, इस दृष्टि से सारी व्यवस्थाएं इस मैत्री पोर्टल में हमने की है। और मेरा विश्वास है कि अभी हमारे जो इन्वेस्टर्स यहाँ पर है वो भी इस बात की गवाही देंगे कि महाराष्ट्र में हम लोग जो हमारी इंडस्ट्री है, जो हमारे इन्वेस्टर्स है, इनको अपना साथी समझते हैं, क्योंकि हम लोग इस बात को जानते हैं कि उनकी यशस्विता में ही हमारी यशस्विता है। अगर वो सक्सीड होते हैं तो हम भी सक्सीड होते हैं, और उसी के चलते ये सारी पॉलिसीज़ को हम लोगों ने यहाँ पर तैयार किया है। इसलिए मैं ऐसा मानता हूँ कि आज इस रोड शो के माध्यम से मैं सारे इंडस्ट्री को अपील करना चाहता हूँ। हमारे पास कोल के भंडार हैं, हमारे पास ज़मीन है, केंद्र सरकार और भारत सरकार और महाराष्ट्र सरकार की नीतियाँ हैं, और ये क्षेत्र, ये मैं ऐसा मानता हूँ कि नव भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था को बूस्ट करने वाला और भारत को आत्मनिर्भर बनाने वाला क्षेत्र है। इसलिए मैं अपील करना चाहता हूँ कि आप सब लोग इस क्षेत्र में आगे आए, और भारत सरकार ने जो योजना तैयार की है, इस योजना का लाभ आप सब लोग मिलकर ले। मैं तो फिर एक बार भारत सरकार का बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ। हमारे मंत्री जी, राज्य मंत्री जी, हमारे सेक्रेटरी, एडिशनल सेक्रेटरीज का आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ कि आपने इस रोड शो को मुंबई में आयोजित किया। और मेरा विश्वास है ये रोड शो केवल एकमात्र इवेंट नहीं है, तो इसके माध्यम से हमने अपनी बात पहुंचाने का प्रयास किया है। अब हम लोग इस रोड शो को माध्यम बनाकर हमारे इन्वेस्टर के साथ बातचीत शुरू करेंगे, और आने वाले दिनों में और कई प्रोजेक्ट्स ये महाराष्ट्र में हम लोग कर पाए, और एक प्रकार से विदर्भ को ये हमारे कोल गैसिफिकेशन का और डिराइवेटिव्स का हब इस रूप में हम लोग डेवलप कर पाए, ऐसा मैं आज के इस मौके पर कहना चाहता हूँ। और मेरे भाषण को समाप्त करते हुए मैं इतना ही कहना चाहता हूँ कि कोयले को कोयला मत समझिए, कोयला भी हीरा है। और जैसे डायमंड्स आर फॉर एवर, कोल इज ऑल्सो फॉर एवर। और इसलिए किसी ने बहुत अच्छे तरीके से कहा है, वक्त के नूर को भी बेनूर बना देता है, वक्त के नूर को भी बेनूर बना देता है, फ़कीर को भी हुजूर बना देता है, वक्त की कद्र कर बंदे, वक्त कोयले को भी कोहिनूर बना देता है। तो ऐसा ही वक्त आया है जब भारत में और महाराष्ट्र में कोयले को हम कोहिनूर बनाएंगे और भारत को हम एक विकसित अर्थव्यवस्था की ओर ले जाएंगे। प्रधानमंत्री जी का सपना हम पूरा करेंगे। इतना ही कहते हुए मैं अपने शब्दों को विराम देता हूं। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र।
Please give a huge round of applause, everybody. Thank you, sir, for your very inspiring address, and we thank you once again for your steadfast support and proactive efforts in fostering an enabling ecosystem for coal gasification and industrial development in Maharashtra. Thank you once again, sir. May I now request Shri Alok Kumar Singh, Advisor Projects, Ministry of Coal, to kindly deliver a vote of thanks.
It is my privilege and honor to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of Ministry of Coal. The 37,500 crore scheme and request for proposal for promotion of surface coal and lignite gasification project stands before us today not as an announcement but as an open invitation to partner, to invest and to build. I express my deepest gratitude to the Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra for gracing the roadshow with his distinguished presence. His participation today is a powerful testament to Maharashtra's commitment to industrial transformation and investment-led growth. The state of Maharashtra has consistently been at the forefront of India's economic journey, and his personal engagement sends an unambiguous signal to investors and industry that Maharashtra stands ready to be a preferred destination for coal gasification and the broader downstream industrial ecosystem. We are deeply honored by his presence and inspired by his vision for a stronger, self-reliant, Viksit Maharashtra and India. I express my gratitude to Honorable Union Minister of Coal and Mines for his inspirational address that set the tone and direction of today's roadshow. His emphasis on transforming coal from a conventional fuel into a strategic driver of national self-reliance and his vision that this scheme is not merely about coal gasification, but about building a more resilient and future-ready industrial economy resonated deeply with all present. I extend my sincere thanks to Honorable Union Minister of State for Coal and Mines for his valuable presence and insightful address. His articulation of how global supply chain disruptions reflect in soaring import costs of LNG, urea, ammonia, and coking coal make import substitution not just an economic imperative, but a strategic national priority resonated deeply with everyone in that room. His confidence that this scheme will help India achieve the national target of 100 million tons of coal gasification by 2030 was both timely and inspiring. The draft RFP is ready and is open for feedback till tomorrow. Please participate. Please send your feedback on our RFP. Participate when the round one opens. As Secretary Sir rightly said, the opportunity is unprecedented, the support is generous, the need is urgent. Thank you. After a short break, we will be having presentations on different facets of coal gasification. Thank you, sir.
We once again express our sincere gratitude for your gracious presence today, sir. I request everyone to remain seated while the Honorable Chief Minister take leave of the venue. We now move towards a series of presentations highlighting policy support, investment opportunities, and enabling frameworks for coal gasification and industrial development. Ministry of Coal has been spearheading transformational initiatives to unlock the immense potential of coal gasification and downstream industries. May I now invite Ms. Shivani Verma, Ministry of Coal, to kindly give her presentation.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to welcome all of you to Mumbai, India's financial capital and one of the most important industrial and investment hubs. Over the last month, the Government of India has moved rapidly from policy announcement to implementation. The 37,500 crore scheme for promotion of surface coal lignite gasification projects has been approved. The draft RFP has been placed in the public domain, and we have engaged with industry through successful roadshows in Delhi and Hyderabad. Today's interaction marks the next step in that collaborative journey. This is not merely an incentive scheme. It's a strategic initiative to build domestic capacity in fertilizers, chemical and synthetic fuel while reducing India's import dependence and strengthening long-term energy security. The vision is straightforward. India has abundant coal resource, India has a growing demand, and coal gasification is the bridge that connects the two. Our objective is to create an enabling ecosystem where project developers, technology providers, investors, and end users can work together to establish a globally competitive coal gasification industry in India. Let me briefly recap where we stand today. The scheme was approved in May 2026. On 5th June, the Ministry of Coal published the draft RFP for public consultation, inviting comments from all stakeholders. Investor roadshows have already been conducted in Delhi and Hyderabad, generating valuable discussions and practical suggestions from developers, technology providers, and industry representatives. Based on requests received from stakeholders, the Ministry has extended the last date for submission of comments on RFP to 19 June 2026, providing additional time for meaningful participation. Today's Mumbai Roadshow is therefore an opportunity to address any remaining questions and encourage final industry inputs before the RFP is finalized. The document before you is intentionally a draft RFP. The Ministry has chosen a consultative approach because we want the final framework to be clear, transparent, and practical for implementation. If any provision creates ambiguity, operational challenges, or unintended consequences, this is the time to bring it to our attention because your input today can shape what applicants face tomorrow. The draft RFP is available on the Ministry of Coal website and has been shared with all of you. With the deadline now extended, we encourage you all to carefully review the document and submit constructive suggestions. Every question you raise today and every practical recommendation received will help us refine the final RFP and facilitate smoother transfer, who can apply, and how projects will be selected. Let's look at the overall framework of the scheme. This is a competitive bidding process and projects will be evaluated on 5 parameters carrying a total of 100 marks. If your project scores 40 or above, you qualify for financial incentive from the total outlay. The incentive is 20% of the cost of plant and machinery. That is a significant contribution to what is by nature a capital intensive sector. Now let me highlight 3 important caps that applicants should keep in mind while planning their projects. First, the maximum incentive per project is 5,000 crore. Second, the aggregate incentive for a single corporate group, including its affiliates and subsidiaries, is capped at 12,000 crore across all projects. Third, the maximum incentive for any downstream product category is 9,000 crores. However, there are 2 important exceptions, urea and synthetic natural gas, for which no product level cap has been prescribed. Applicants may be PSUs, private companies, joint ventures, or consortiums of up to 3 companies. The application process is also quite straightforward. Each project requires a separate application supported by a board-approved PFR or DPR, along with an application security of 50 lakh in the form of a bank guarantee. I would like to clarify that this is refundable. It is returned upon signing of the project agreement for selected applicants and within 30 days of declaration of results for those who are not selected. After selection, the applicant is required to incorporate a special purpose vehicle which will execute the project agreement with the ministry. And before signing that agreement, the SPV will furnish a performance security equal to 3% of the cost of plant and machinery. With the overall framework in place, let us now move to the most important aspect of the scheme, how projects will be evaluated and ranked. Ultimately, selection under this scheme depends on a single number, your score out of 100. The next few slides explain how these marks are awarded. This is perhaps the most important slide for anyone planning to participate under the scheme. The projects are evaluated across 5 parameters. Parameter 1, viability amount score carrying 30 points. So this is your bid. You tell us what percentage of your P&M cost you are asking for as financial incentive with a maximum of 20%. The principle is simple. The lower the incentive sought, the higher the score. For example, if the lowest bid in a round is 12% and you bid 20%, your score will be 12 divided by 20 and multiplied by 30 equals to 18. An applicant quoting the lowest percentage receives the full 30 marks. Parameter 2 is plant capacity carrying 20 points. This parameter rewards scale. It consists of 2 subcomponents carrying 10 marks each. One for clean syngas capacity and other for raw syngas capacity. Projects producing more than 4 lakh Nm³ per hour of syngas receive the maximum score with proportionately lower marks for smaller capacities. In practical terms, larger and more efficient plants receive a competitive advantage. So, if you are close to a threshold, the economics of scaling up slightly may be worth the additional points. Parameter 3, project cost per million ton of coal carrying 20 points. This parameter measures the total project cost relative to the annual coal consumption including both feedstock and fuel coal. The lower project cost per million ton of coal utilized, the higher the score. Parameter 4, technology tie-up carrying 10 points, where indigenous technology or acquired intellectual property receives the highest score, that is 10 points. Plus, it also serves as the first tie-break criterion, providing an additional advantage. Parameter 5, financial strength capability carrying 20 points, which is assessed through net worth relative to the total project cost. Your net worth must exceed 20% of your project cost to qualify. Beyond that 20% floor, you score on a pro rata basis up to 100% net worth. So, if your net worth is 76% of the project cost, your score is 14 out of 20. Net worth equal to or exceeding 100% of project cost gives you the full score. For consortiums, net worth is calculated proportionally by shareholding. If you hold 51% shareholding in the project, only 51% of your net worth is counted. Minimum qualifying score is kept at 40. Below that threshold, there is no incentive. Projects scoring 40 or above will be ranked in descending order and incentives will be allocated starting from the highest ranked projects. In case of a tie, preference will be given to indigenous technology, followed by urea or SNG projects, then higher score in project cost per million ton of coal utilized, and finally, if required, a draw of lots. In essence, the framework rewards projects that combine scale, cost efficiency, financial strength, and technology capability. But before you score, you need to qualify. These are the checks you must clear before your application is even evaluated. First question, every prospective applicant should ask is, am I eligible? The scheme is open to PSUs, private companies, joint ventures, and consortiums of up to 3 companies providing flexibility. However, there are a few fundamental eligibility requirements. The project must be a new surface coal or lignite gasification project located in India with a minimum planned capacity of 0.5 million ton per annum of clean syngas. Applicants must also have a minimum net worth of 20% of the total project cost and should have no admitted insolvency proceedings or government blacklisting. Only new plant and machinery expenditure incurred after the date of approval of the scheme is eligible for financial incentive. For consortiums, there are a few additional requirements. The lead member must hold at least 51% equity in the SPV until the 4th installment. All members must satisfy the eligibility criteria individually, and the consortium composition cannot change during the selection process without prior approval of the ministry. Finally, one practical point for developers planning multiple projects. The net worth committed to earlier applications is deducted sequentially, so it is advisable to plan your portfolio and capital allocation accordingly. The scheme is product agnostic within a defined universe. Let me walk through what qualifies and what specifically does not. A product includes syngas produced from coal or lignite gasification, as well as any product derived from it through a single or integral intermediate chemical transformation. This provides developers with considerable flexibility, providing wide range of products across energy, fuels, chemicals, fertilizers, and steel, allowing each project to choose the value chain that best align with its technology, feedback, and commercial strategy. At the same time, the scheme is focused on gasification outputs. Therefore, producer gas or products involving further downstream processing such as steel or rolled products from DRI, fertilizer blends or explosives from ammonia, ammonium nitrate or urea, paints or polymers from acetic acid, and blended fuels from methanol, ethanol or synthetic diesel are not eligible. This list is illustrative and the guiding principle is simple. The objective here is to encourage investment in core gasification infrastructure and strategic products. For your reference, we have included an illustrative list of potential downstream off-takers for reference and market orientation. I want to spend a moment on why government is putting 37,500 crore into this sector, because it speaks directly to the opportunity in front of you. Let's take urea as an example. India's current annual demand is approximately 40 million ton. By FY30, that is projected to reach 48 million ton. Today, India imports roughly 10 million ton per year, which is 20% of the total demand. Even a significant portion of domestic production relies on imported LNG at feedstock. Coal gasification based urea is the most direct domestic solution to that import dependence. India's natural gas demand is 68 billion cubic meter today, rising to 103 billion cubic meter by FY30. We currently import roughly 50% of our gas. SNG produced via coal gasification can directly substitute into piped gas networks and city gas distribution, displacing costly LNG imports. And now you know why there is no product cap on urea or SNG under this scheme. Also, India's aviation turbine fuel consumption was 8.98 million metric ton in FY25, and by 2030 it is projected at 15 to 16 million metric ton. We have committed to 1% self-blending by 2027, 2% by 2028, and 5% by 2030. Syngas-derived aviation fuel can meet that mandate, and this scheme provides this incentive to build that capacity. Every ton of urea, every cubic meter of LNG, and every liter of imported aviation fuel and other products can be replaced through domestic coal gasification represents a commercial opportunity. The point I want to make is, if you build it, the market is there. Once selected, the next question is how the incentives are released. The incentives under this scheme is milestone based, ensuring that government support progresses alongside actual project development. It is released in 4 equal installments of 25% each, linked to key stages of the project life cycle. The first installment is released after achieving pre-implementation milestones such as land acquisition, environment clearance, coal or lignite tie-up, technology licensor and EPC finalization, and achievement of financial closure. But before this disbursement, the developer is required to furnish an insurance surety bond or bank guarantee equivalent to 25% of the installment amount, which shall be released upon disbursement of second installment. The second installment is linked to construction progress, including loan disbursal by banks or financial institution, 30% equity infusion, and actual P&M expenditure exceeding 50% of the approved incentive amount. This is a reimbursement, meaning you spend first and then claim. The third installment is released after successful commissioning and operation at 50% of the peak annual production capacity for 7 continuous days, while the fourth and the final installment is linked to achieving at least 50% of the annual production capacity during the preceding 365 days. I would like to also highlight the commissioning timeline. The projects commissioned within 5 years receive 100% of the approved incentive. If commissioning takes place between 5 and 6 years, the remaining incentive is reduced by 50%, and between 6 and 7 years, it is further reduced by 25%. Beyond 7 years, no incentive is payable, excluding force majeure periods. The message is simple. The government shares the risk but rewards only timely execution. Faster implementation means full incentive. Beyond the core scheme mechanics, I want to highlight 3 structural advantages that are built into this framework. First, technology agnosticism. The scheme evaluates outcomes, not methods. What matters is whether your plant produces syngas at the required specification. Choose the technology that makes the most economic sense for your project. If you use indigenous technology or you have fully acquired an international technology, you score maximum on the technology tie-up parameter and you win the tiebreaker. Build it your way. Own the technology and you win twice is how we have described this. This is an illustrative, not exhaustive list of technology players active in surface coal lignite gasification. It includes Indian players like BHEL, Nalwa Green Energy owned by Jindal Steel, Thermax, and international players from US, Germany, China, and Japan. And also the research institutions like SIMFER, IISCs, IITs, and NITs. This list is presented for orientation, not as a recommendation. Your technology choice should be driven by your project specification, feedstock, and product mix. This scheme does not displace other incentives. Applicants remain eligible for state-level incentives, central government scheme benefits from other ministries, and commercial mining regime benefits simultaneously. Coal gasification is already a permitted end use under commercial coal block auction. So, if you are a commercial mining block winner, you remain eligible to receive 50% revenue share rebate on coal used for gasification. In other words, this scheme complements, not replaces, allowing project developers to build a stronger overall business case. Third, the scheme actively encourages pithead projects, that is, plants located at or near coal mines, and cluster-based development for better infrastructure utilization and lower logistic cost. The next few slides explain exactly what applicants need to submit and how the selection process will proceed. This slide shows every document you need to submit. Applications go both to the e-portal and in physical form. It includes application forms, power of attorney, board resolution, constitutional documents, financial statements, declaration, affidavits, PFR, DPR, integrity pact, application security, net worth certificate, and a signed copy of RFP. We encourage applicants to begin preparing these documents early, particularly the PFR or DPR and board approvals. Applications will be processed in rounds. Round 1 remain open for 60 days. All applications received within this round will be evaluated together and incentives will be earmarked according to the ranking. Round 2 opens the day after the round 1 closes on the residual outlay. Round 3 follows the same logic and so on until the outlay is fully committed or MOC issues the formal notification to close the rounds. So there is no advantage to waiting. The best scores go first and money follows the scores. Therefore, early preparation is beneficial because higher ranked projects receive priority access to the available financial incentive. Selection is only the beginning of the implementation journey and not the end. Once the evaluation is complete, Ministry issues a letter of award to the selected applicant. I would like to highlight that where the ultimate beneficial owner is located outside India, LOA will be issued only after obtaining necessary approvals and clearances. Following the LOA, the selected applicant shall have to incorporate a special purpose vehicle which will be responsible for implementing and operating the projects. SPV shareholding must exactly mirror the consortium structure submitted in your application. The SPV will then furnish the prescribed performance security of 3% of your approved P&M cost, submitted either via RTGS, NEFT into the designated account or as a bank guarantee. This is returned when you achieve financial closure. The SPV will then execute the project agreement with the Ministry. This is the date from where your commissioning clock starts. From this point until the fourth installment is disbursed, the project developer must hold at least 51% equity into the SPV. No transfer, no sale without MOC's written approval. If you breach this, MOC can recover the full incentive with interest at twice the 3-year SBI marginal cost of fund-based lending rate and terminate the agreement. These provisions are intended to provide certainty to both the government and project developers, ensuring that the entity selected to the competitive process remains committed to the successful project execution. Since the incentive is linked to plant and machinery cost, the definition of eligible P&M directly determines the incentive available to a project. It is therefore important to understand what is included and what is excluded. The P&M cost includes core plant and machinery, technology license fee, erection and installation cost for syngas and downstream product production, and only expenditure incurred after the date of scheme's approval. And it does not include land cost, site development, building and civil works except those directly associated with erection and installation, pre-operative expenses, financing costs including IDC and other soft costs, previously used, refurbished or transferred plant and machinery from other facility. Therefore, accurate cost classification in PFR or DPR will therefore be very important. We are now in the final stage of stakeholder consultation. Over the past 2 weeks, the Ministry has received valuable suggestions from across the industry, and many have already helped improve our understanding of implementation challenges. The extension of the feedback period reflects our commitment to the meaningful consultation. We are now 24 hours away from the end of feedback window. If there is a provision that requires clarification or improvement, we encourage you to submit it by tomorrow. Every practical suggestion today contributes to a stronger and most effective final framework. So please submit your comments in the prescribed format and mention the relevant clause, the proposed modification, and the rationale supporting your recommendation. All feedbacks received by 19 June will be carefully examined while finalizing the RFP. The objective is to ensure that the final document is robust, transparent, and implementation friendly. And as we conclude, I would like to leave you with 3 messages. First, make full use of the extended consultation period and submit your feedback by tomorrow. Second, begin preparing your PFR or DPR and technology arrangements now. Early preparation will place your project in a stronger competitive position once applications open. Third, identify your downstream market strategy and technology partnerships at an early stage. Coal gasification is no longer merely a policy aspiration. The government has approved the scheme, committed the incentive, released the draft RFP, and engaged extensively with industry through multiple roadshows. The next phase is implementation. And now it's your turn. We look forward to seeing ambitious projects that strengthen India's energy security, reduce import dependence, and create a globally competitive coal gasification ecosystem. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to receiving your feedback and to working together in building a strong domestic coal gasification industry.
Thank you for that very informative presentation. I'm sure many of the questions our participants came with today have now been answered, and the opportunities under the scheme are much clearer. We now move ahead to our second presentation. I invite Shri Mohammad Hidyatullah, gasification expert, Air Products, for his presentation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My humble greetings to our honorable ministers, eminent dignitaries, and respected audience. that intent, we come up with a brief presentation about Indian high ash coal and gasification challenges. And the agenda was kept very simple with what is so unique about Indian high ash coal, followed by major challenges and what is the mitigation mechanism that one has to adapt, followed by air products solutions. Okay, what is so unique about Indian coal? As you all know, it has very high ash coal, and it is very nature of the coal formation in Indian earth crust that has formulated this mineral content, which has resulted around 30 to 45% ash content in the coal. So it is very inherent nature of this coal. Of course, to give a perspective on a all over world, typically 15 to 20% ash content or way below that is what is being experienced. However, India is very unique in that context, having or exhibiting 30 to 45% ash content kind of number. Another key aspect to consider here is about ash temperature. People who are familiar with mineralogy of the coal, they do understand, okay, the coal composition and ash composition plays a significant role. And the fusion temperature is something where the ash starts to melt and flow. This is an important characteristics in a gasification technology to achieve the right slagging within the reactor. So these two are very important aspects when you are looking for gasification. However, these two unique characteristics are very pertinent to Indian coal. There are few aspects which are very familiar, positive for that. High volatile matter content and low oxygen content as well as low moisture content. Collectively, they put together a very reactive coal particle in gasification. So although I said those two are very pertinent and challenging aspects to consider for gasification technology, the third one is really helping in the reaction zone. So, yeah. So, I mean, the right hand side, you'll be seeing how those challenges have been addressed. The gasification, when I say, okay, 35-40% ash content, you clearly understand for 100 kilograms of coal, you have around 35 to 40% or kilograms of non-value added component in that. No matter which application you are going to use your coal for, being a power or steel application as well as a chemical such as gasification, this 35 to 40 kilograms of coal, the component of the coal that is coming into the gasification will have no value addition. And whatever the technology or the approach that we are going to take, will be focusing on that remaining 60-65 kilograms of that coal component, which is going to yield a right product for your plant. Of course, I mean, this all has to be looked into a perspective where the country is moving towards energy security and sustainable utilization of the domestic fossil fuels. So that brings a point where which technology or which solution is going to be implemented, how we can able to extract the right value for this mineral matter content consideration as well as the value addition in that. So air products brings the very important, air products brings a very simple and robust design for the gasifier, because this plays a heart of the overall gasification unit, which can circulate or remove that and extract the right value addition from the coal. So reactor is equipped with multiple burner, creating a swirling pattern inside the reactor, fully utilizing the gasification chamber and achieving the highest carbon conversion, ensuring that we are fully utilizing the valuable product from the coal. While doing so, it is also important how we are going to handle that 40 or 35 kilograms of coal. So this particular mechanism will provide you a mechanism to seamlessly remove all the slag that has been formed across the wall of the reactor and seamlessly comes out of the reactor. So this is an advantage where we are confident that we'll be able to handle very high ash coal without having any trouble, while extracting the right value from the coal, at the same time discharging the non-value added product out of the gasifier in a very environmental friendly way. So of course, these two are not only the challenges which has been addressed with the solutions that have been highlighted. Of course, the plant that is being built in India should also consider the key performance indicators. Of course, the plant that has been built it should achieve higher carbon conversion. It should have the right slagging mechanism to ensure environmental friendly byproducts have been discharged out of the unit for a sustainability point of view, as well as the reliability and scale. Of course, the plants have been claiming which do not meet the target availability number to achieve the chemical sector targets, that is will be of no use. At the same time, the scale. Of course, the kind of promotion or the advantages that we are getting in Indian government, it is very imperative that we have to go for a big scale capacities. And this is why the investors and the decision makers should be taking into account what is the scale at which the gasification plant has to be built in. And with that perspective, the right hand side column explains what are the recorded numbers from gasification technology licensed by Air Products. We do see the carbon conversion above 99% conversion, and the slagging efficiency. This plays an important role from the environmental perspective, where we build a plant, it's not polluting any of your premises. It is very important for its longevity. Honorable Chief Minister also explained about Bombay Gas company, which has used gasification as a mode to generate town gas. Of course, over a period of 120, it did perform very well. However, when it comes to environmental perspective and the concerns associated with it, it has to go, it has to stop. So whatever the technology you are going to adapt should have that caliber to ensure whatever the byproducts we are going to producing, it should be eco-friendly. And of course, if there is a way, it has to bring some economic value as well. So from the availability perspective, yes, there are plants who will be able to achieve. And these are the recorded availability numbers across our reference plants, achieving more than 8,000 hours, annual hours, meeting the downstream chemical products. So gasification unit designed by Air Products was never a bottleneck from this perspective. And the last one is about the scale. Yeah, of course, we are very proud to say that Air Products designed licensed gasification plants commands the biggest world-class gasification plants, and producing close to 1 million nm³ per hour of CO plus H2. So of course, which is pertinent in the kind of environment that we are looking right now. It should have the highest scale delivered. This is a very small scale, the process flow, block flow diagram that has been represented for your ease of understanding. Of course, I urge every one of you, there is a nicely written brochure kept on each table. Please do reach out to that, and whatever, the differentiations, a nice case study has been kept over there to ensure how a low ash content coal versus a high ash content coal be processed in a gasification plant, and which specific areas, which specific subsections will be impacted, and where Air Products tailor-made solutions have been offered there to ensure the perfect operating mechanism for addressing high ash gasification coal. So we do have the heart of it. There's a gasifier you are seeing, unit 1300. Of course, on the feeding mechanism, I'm not going to discuss about it. Reason being, no matter which technology you adapt and what type of feeding mechanism it be, high ash or low ash will not have any big major impact. It is going to be seamlessly fed in. However, the major crux is around the gasification unit and the solids handling associated with it. So we do have listed and documented and very well explained in those brochures that it can be understood very well. Of course, I urge all the dignitaries to take a moment to go through that, and we will be happy to connect with you during the networking time to further discuss if any further specific, any specific questions or clarifications you be requiring associated with it. Of course, you do see that is a block flow diagram which will be licensed and designed by Air Products. And the point where you are seeing the raw syngas, of course, honorable dignitaries already explained what is the huge slate of product that we can make out of raw syngas. And syngas is considered to be a building block for many of these chemical applications. Of course, this is the global presence we would like to share. Of course, it is not in a very specific region that has been operated by Air Products. There is a huge global presence all across the world. And this particular slide shows a humble beginning of Air Products, having around 7 decades of experience, right from very small scale, 600 ton per day, to scaling up to 3,200 ton per day of gasification plants that have been operating already in the region, and also handling high ash coal in that way. So this is not a very quick. It's a very meticulous scaling up and design considerations. And everywhere there has been a designed plant, operating plant. Those things have been taken into account to ensure, and there is a continuous development in this technology to offer, the very tailored solution that we are going to offer for Indian market. Yeah, with that, I take another moment to say, okay, the brochures are there, and my colleague, Mr. Nishant Singh, and I be available during the break time to connect with all of you to further talk about any clarifications or questions that you be having. And I appreciate, thank you so much for this great opportunity to present in front of you and sharing some thoughts about coal gasification. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your very informative presentation. May I now invite Shri Vaibhav Kakulte, President Business Development, Greta.
Yeah, thank you so much. Honorable Ministers, Shri Reddy Sir, Shri Dubey Sir, respected Secretary Ministry of Coal, Shri Vikram Devdutt Sir, Additional Secretary, Srimati Rupinder Brar Madam, Additional Secretary, Shri Sanoj Kumar Jha Sir, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to everyone. I represent Greta. So this is one of the projects which has received the financial incentive during the first scheme as announced by the Ministry of Coal, Government of India, that is 8,500 crores. So we are also one of the players in that. So my purpose of coming here is not to, give you about details about the technology, what we have chosen and other technical parameters. So I'm standing here in front of you to just let you know about the advantages of this particular scheme which Government of India has brought up, and also to encourage you to come and participate in this particular scheme. We are developing an integrated steel plant. We are developing an integrated steel plant based on coal gasification technology along with carbon capture and other derivative production. As you might have seen in the RFP document, there are 19 products which Ministry has mentioned there. But if you look at all the probable and possible products, so that list is in excess of 40. So you can have different permutations and combinations as far as those products are concerned. So let me give you a brief background how this particular project has started. There is some story behind that. We have one small biomass-based power plant, 15 megawatt, and our chairman, Shri Nitesh Chaudhary, who is also present here, he had plans to develop a small rolling mill which will have the lowest possible emissions as far as the final end product is concerned. But however, while looking at all the options which were there at the time, so there were certain challenges. Like for example, when we analyze the natural gas based system, so that time, we analyzed all the possible things. So that time we came across the challenges such as availability of natural gas, then the price fluctuations, then import dependency. So all those variables were there. And then during that time only, we came across this particular scheme by Government of India, which turned out as a savior for our plans to bring it to reality. So then we did assessment of this particular scheme along with our plan, and which was fitting very well in our overall scheme of things. So we applied for it, and then we are also one of the 8 players now, because one more player got added later for the pilot project. And we have received excellent support from the Ministry of Coal, Government of India, as well as the state government. So I will talk about that subsequently as well. So let me give a brief background about the process, what we are going to do. So as I mentioned, we are developing this integrated steel plant based on coal gasification technology. We'll be having 1.2 million ton of pellet plant here, then 0.8 million ton of DRI, and then there are other auxiliary equipments along with that. And the final product will be 0.4 million ton of finished steel, that is combination of TMT bars and wire rods. When you look at different advantages of the gas-based DRI steel making versus other conventional methods, there are enormous. While looking at the different parameters such as environmental impact, so DRI can produce steel with the lowest possible environmental impact, that is 0.9 tons of CO2 per ton of DRI. And again, when you look at the final liquid steel, that will be to the tune of 1.2 tons per ton of liquid steel. So whereas you look at other options, that is blast furnace route as well as rotary kiln route, so these numbers are quite high there. Then as we have domestic coal, which is having varying percentage of ash content, so that can also be used properly in this particular case. And though we require high grade iron ore here, but we have availability in the country. So this is also a very efficient process. Then the capital and operational cost, this also stands better as compared to other options. The product quality is better in case of gas-based DRI. We have flexibility from operations point of view, that is medium to large scale, we can have such installations. We can have faster ramp up and better suited to dynamic market conditions. And while looking at our projects, we are also making it future ready, that we can use this particular process with the hydrogen, usage of hydrogen. And along with that, we are also going to use the renewable energy in addition to this carbon capture. So when you look at the emissions, as they are there for this particular process globally. So actually we are standing at the number 1 position in terms of the emissions which are contributed by this particular industry. These are the national average, but when you look at the other Western world, so these numbers are quite low because they are having electric arc furnaces as well as some component of renewable energy also they are having. So while taking clue from that, so what we are going to do is we are also going to use carbon capture, and along with that we will be utilizing the renewable energy also, that is 100% renewable energy powered. So because of which we will be having our number of emission the lowest possible, that is 0.3 tons of CO2 per ton of steel produced. And while looking at the green taxonomy of Government of India, that is under Ministry of Steel, so we will be having the 5-star rating as far as the grading system what they have developed. As you all are aware about the advantages of coal gasification, the honorable speakers, ministers, they have mentioned about various aspects of it. We are importing the products to the tune of almost 3 lakh crore worth to India, that is urea, natural gas, ammonia, methanol. So with this utilization, so we can actually have solutions for all those problems. So this particular process is more cleaner and efficient. So by this, we can have energy security as far as all our energy requirements are concerned. We can create large value in terms of creating different clusters as well as having the entire ecosystem development around such projects. So this also provides us large opportunities such as decarbonization, then creating different industrial clusters around the availability of coal blocks. And then this will help us to make us Atmanirbhar as far as our overall goals are concerned as a country. and we will be able to reduce imports for all those products which we are talking about. So in terms of the support what we have been receiving from the both the governments, that is central government as well as state government, those are phenomenal. I mean, we have been supported by both the ministries, I mean, both the governments at every step. So we have received a sanction for the financial incentive for this coal gasification scheme. Then we have been also allotted the long-term coal linkage for 30 years as per the requirement of our technology, and which is best suited for that particular combination. Then they have also arranged various road shows as well as meetings so that we can evaluate all these technologies which is suitable for our particular purpose. As, I mean, there are different technologies which are available in the market, but you need to decide about what is suitable and best for your particular purpose. So they have also acted as an enabler in the entire value chain as far as this product development cycle is concerned. Along with that, they are ably supported by the state government. So we have also received different incentives as per the package incentive scheme of Government of Maharashtra, that is 2019 as well as the 2025, which got amended later. Then land allotment as well as other fiscal incentives such as stamp duty exemption, then the other employment benefits, a GST refund. Along with that, we are also talking on other incentives which Government of Maharashtra is also extending in addition to this. And because of all this support, we are able to achieve these milestones which are there in front of you. So we are in possession of this particular land. Environment clearance is over. So we have received the LOA from the Ministry of Coal for this financial incentive. And we have also completed the basic engineering as far as the entire scheme is concerned. And now this particular project is in execution stage, and for which the groundbreaking ceremony was already blessed by the Honorable Ministers, that is Reddy Sir as well as Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Devendra Fadnavis ji. So they blessed this occasion with their august presence, and then they have inaugurated this Bhumi Pujan. And we have initiated this activity. So we have broken the ground and we are moving ahead with this particular development. So when we look at this particular as a business opportunity, the kind of government support which we are getting from the central government as well as state government, that is phenomenal. So I don't find any reason that, I mean, we can ignore this particular opportunity, right? So we as an industry can reciprocate and then accordingly participate in the new scheme which is coming up now, for which this particular roadshow is being arranged. So I request the industry partners to come forward and participate in this particular scheme. As we have gone through this particular process over a couple of years in terms of this experience and what we have done, so we'll be happy to share our knowledge, whatever we have learned during this 2 years period, and we will be able to connect you with the right people in the industry so that, I mean, you can shorten that period what we have gone through earlier. So with this, I would like to thank Ministry of Coal for giving us this opportunity to present this in front of you, so that you can also, I mean, talk to the people who are implementing this particular project. With this, I would like to thank everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your very insightful presentation, sir. I'm sure the compelling advantages and transformative potential of coal gasification shown by you has helped our participants better appreciate the opportunity this technology offers. Ladies and gentlemen, सार्थक संवाद और मजबूत साझेदारियां औपचारिक बैठकों के आगे बढ़कर अनौपचारिक चर्चाओं में भी विकसित होती हैं. So we now break for high tea and networking while I request everyone to reassemble in 10 minutes. I request everybody to kindly settle down. हाँ नहीं वो ठीक है लेकिन बाकी लोगों को अंदर पूरा पूरा हॉल अच्छा आशीष I now invite Shri Sujoy Karamkar, ED NTPC, to kindly give his presentation on CCUS.
Thank you. Good evening to all. Honorable Union Minister of Coal, Shri Reddy Saab, Secretary Coal, Siddharth Saab, Joint Secretary Ma'am, Bar Ma'am, and Jha Saab, senior officials from Ministry of Coal and State Government of Maharashtra, CMD NLC, Shri Prasad Kumar Saab, industry leaders, technology providers, licensors, researchers, startups, and experts from financial institutions. I am Sujoy Karmakar, and I will walk you through what carbon capture and utilization in synergy with gasification unlock the value of the total project or the proposal. As you are transitioning toward a greener economy, it all started with the vision given by Honorable Prime Minister in COP26 that we have to achieve net zero by 2070. And each nation must chart its path of decarbonization. And it's unique to each nation. Basic energy security and sustainability, affordability, technology and innovation, and above all, it's a just transition for all. As you all know, that coal remains the major primary source with more than 350 billion of proven reserve. A lot of economy of the states depend on coal. A lot of investment has been done on coal. A lot of employment has been generated by the coal sector. But there are challenges with the utilization of the coal. On the right-hand side, you can see in 2020, almost 1,600 million metric ton of CO2 was released through our industrial practices. And out of that, the majority is from power sector. NTPC being the largest utility producer has its responsibility basically to reduce the coal intensity from its power generation. So basically, what are the factors in the sector that can combine together to give us a renewal path forward, a transition where we can reduce the carbon intensity? That is basically a combination of renewables, green hydrogen, carbon capture and utilization, and coal gasification. If you interlink these four pillars, then truly we can reach to our end destination of net zero by 2070. So to meet economic demand and also the energy security, I won't emphasize on the energy security much because a lot has been said after the situation in West Asia. And second thing is coal utilization is here to stay. That is the main thing. And I think we thank Ministry of Coal to basically unlock the value of coal so that it can be used continuously, because this is the cheapest energy source that we are having in the country. So delinking the CO2 emission from coal utilization became the most important thing. So what can be the strategies? These strategies are looked into from the power sector point of view, but it can be adapted in the coal sector also. So these bottom blocks, basically they give incremental CO2 reduction, almost that has been done in the country. Moving ahead, the green blocks give us a large value addition where a lot of CO2 can be reduced, first by coal replacement by biomass co-firing, especially for power sector, IGCC, coal gasification, syngas used in power plant, in a combined cycle, gas turbine, it can reduce 10 to 20% of CO2 reduction. Above that, carbon capture and utilization, another 20%, and finally, for net zero, CO2 sequestration and storage. So what are the CO2 capture options that we are having? The first block, the top one, is basically the CO2 evolving from a power plant. CO2 is at almost atmospheric condition. The concentration of CO2 in weight is approximately 10 to 15%. Because of its low partial pressure, there is some penalty on CO2 capture. But the technology has been validated by NTPC. The mid one is the coal gasification, where we have a concentrated CO2 stream. When we purify the syngas, let's say rectisol or Selexol method, we have a concentrated CO2, and this concentrated CO2 then can further be captured. It's already captured, that can be utilized. So what are the pathway of utilization? I will come in the next subsequent slides. The next is oxy-fuel combustion. The technology is, you can say, still under development. So if you see the processes which uses to capture the CO2 depends on the partial pressure of CO2 either in the flue gas or in the syngas. That means what is the concentration of CO2 in the fluid system. So on the right hand side is being explained that if the concentration of CO2 in the fluid medium is less, so this is the case of flue gases coming out from either a coal-based power plant or a gas-based power plant. So there, the chemical solvent method becomes important, becomes effective. As the CO2 partial pressure or the concentration of CO2 in the fuel medium, fluid medium increases, let's say in syngas. So then your physical solvent method, that is rectisol or Selexol, they become effective. So with that background, what NTPC and Ministry of Power has done in the carbon capture and utilization, I will just walk you through that. So these are the possible technology which can be used for capturing CO2. And NTPC has done over a 1.5 decade of R&D to basically understand the capability and capacity of each of these projects, each of these processes. On the left side is a pressure swing absorption system. It's basically similar to what we have seen during the COVID, the oxygen generation plants that we have put up in a large quantity. So this basically the principle is same. The second one, the chemical route, is basically solvent-based or amine-based, where you capture the CO2 in the solvent and then you regenerate the solvent. The third is CO2 captured in algae. Algae basically uses the CO2 as their food, and the algae can be then further utilized to take out oil from that. So now CO2, let's say we have captured in coal gasification through either Selexol process or rectisol process. So what to do with that CO2? Because the CO2 here will be in a very huge quantity. So the pathway to utilize that CO2 should be like that it can be used in bulk. So I will just take some time on this slide. On the left-hand side, you can see all the chemicals and fuels that we can use, you can make through CO2, and it requires hydrogen. So basically, CO2, either from the coal-based plant or from coal gasification, if we synthesize this along with green hydrogen, so we can make methanol, we can make ethanol. Methanol can further be taken down to dimethyl ether. Ethanol can further be taken down to aviation fuel. So you see, these are the same chemicals or fuels that our normal gasification process through syngas gives us. So if we capture the CO2, basically it provides me a simultaneous, a parallel product stream where I can use renewable energy, I can use green hydrogen, and I can produce these green chemicals, an effective way of capturing the total CO2 and give us a new product line in parallel to the coal gasification. Urea, on the top hand side is urea. Apart from the energy security, we can produce urea also from the CO2, CO2, N2 and H2 ammonia, CO2 and ammonia, urea. So food security. On the right hand side, methane, carbon black, and even organic chemicals. Now when hydrogen comes into picture, the cost increases. So what are the other methods where basically we can use the CO2 without using hydrogen? So building products. CO2 can be carbonated with fly ash, with lime, and can be used for making building materials. It can be aggregates, it can be bricks, it can be any other building material. And from the day first itself, this is a net zero, negative carbon process. So you have a permanent sequestration of CO2 in building products. You can make inorganic chemicals, soda ash, baking soda, all the soaps that comes out, industrial usages, but that is not basically bulk usage. Food and beverage, again, bulk usage is not possible. So basically here I want to say that building products, it permanently sequesters carbon in the building materials, and also EOR, which gives again a commercial value to the oil exploration. So with that background, what NTPC has done with all the R&D and whatever know-how we generated in the last 1.5 decade. So this is the view which you are seeing. This is CO2 to methanol plant. CO2 flue gas has been captured from unit 13 of Vindhyachal 500 megawatt unit. We put up a green hydrogen plant, a PEM-based electrolyzer, and then a methanol synthesis plant. So on the right-hand side, you can see the CO2 capture block. It's written over there. Maybe it's on the lower side, so you will not be able to see that. Then hydrogen block, and on the left-hand side is the methanol block. It produces 99.85% pure methanol. And if you want to take it further, you can dehydrate it to produce DME. We have not only basically integrated the technology, where we have to take certain licenses, but we have developed indigenous processes also, where we have developed the catalyst and the reactor. So this is the pilot plant which you are seeing, which is there in our R&D unit at Netra. And basically, the know-how from here helped us to commission the larger unit. Going to scaling up, we started with 20 TPD CO2 capture, where we are producing methanol. We are planning a 3000 TPD CO2, that is 10 lakh million metric ton per annum, which we will be capturing from Simhadri. We have 500 megawatt units. So from there, we will be capturing 3000 TPD. Work is already undergoing there. A 325 TPD CO2 capture plant, this will give CO2 to produce urea. And the cost of urea, which we have estimated, is basically at par with the range which our industrial, that is indigenous manufacturers are basically producing, but with imported natural gas. So it's at the higher end, but if we are using CO2 and green hydrogen, that has a separate market. Then 25 TPD CO2 capture plant. Now this CO2 will be used for 4G ethanol and SAF. So these are under construction. The status has been written on the right-hand side. And as we are capturing CO2 from Simhadri, and this process plant will be at Pudimatka, so it is 18 kilometers away. So we are preparing a feed for 18 kilometers of supercritical high-pressure CO2 pipeline, which will be, I think, first in India. That supercritical CO2 will be captured, it will be dehydrated, it will be compressed to a supercritical pressure, and that will be transported through pipeline to 80 kilometers away, the Pudimatka, the first green hydrogen site of India. So these are all CO2 utilization in chemicals or fuels. The second part of it, where hydrogen is not being used for utilizing the CO2, that is basically the building materials. So again, this is under execution in our Ramagundam plant, where we will be utilizing fly ash and lime, and we'll be curing it through CO2 to manufacture 2 lakh bricks per annum. And these bricks, we have prepared that in our plant, and in this bricks summit, we are giving these bricks as a memento to all the delegates who will be participating. So these bricks will open up an avenue where, as a power plant, I can utilize my fly ash. 90% of the fly ash will be utilized, and with lime, we'll produce the bricks. And you can see the total amount of consumable, that is consumption of the brick, is approximately 250 to 350 billion bricks. And these bricks matches in terms of cost and in terms of quality with red clay bricks or your fly ash bricks. Now, whatever we do, it's basically impossible to utilize the total CO2 which is being emitted. Some of the CO2 has to be stored or sequestered. So first, under the Ministry of Power and Niti Aayog, they have given certain sectors, ONGC, NTPC, they have to basically, we have evaluated the CO2 storage potential in oil wells, used oil wells, in mines, coal mines, and in basalt and all those things. So first we evaluated that, and then we have gone for drilling and capturing the samples inside from the inside. We have drilled 2,000 meters of 2 bores in one of our power plant, in one of our mines, and those are under study. Basically, we are studying that how much of CO2 we can inject safely so that it can remain there underground. So in conclusion, Indian energy sector is going through a rapid transition. Now there is no boundary between the sectors. Power sectors, oil sectors, fertilizer sectors, they are all now merged together. India has chosen its path of just transition where important principles are basically energy security and sustainability, technological innovation, energy access and equity. Coal gasification and CCUS becomes an important part of this journey. NTPC has traversed the path from concept to pilot to demonstration, and we are ready to collaborate with interested partners to taking this forward. Thanks, lastly, but not the least, thanks and gratitude to the Ministry of Coal from NTPC and from Ministry of Power to giving us this opportunity to basically share the path we have traversed to. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that very informative presentation on CCUS. It has offered valuable insights into how this technology can complement coal gasification and support India's sustainable goals. Thank you, sir. We now move to an important presentation highlighting Maharashtra's incentive framework and opportunities for industrial investment. May I invite Shri Ajit Kumbhar, Joint CEO, MIDC, to kindly make the presentation, sir.
Good evening all. Honorable Minister Sri G. Kishan Reddy sir, respected Secretary Vikram Devdutt sir, all respected senior officials from Government of India, industry partners, media persons, all the representatives from various backgrounds. Maharashtra is proud to host this discussion on surface coal gasification and downstream derivatives, a sector aligned with India's vision of energy security, import reduction, and clean energy transition. Maharashtra, being the pioneer in various industry reforms, is also leading in this coal gasification sector. My presentation will be focused on overall Maharashtra's industrial growth and specific initiatives regarding the coal gasification sector. So Maharashtra is the largest subnational entity considering the economic output. At present, Maharashtra's economy is around 660 billion US dollars, and with the aim of achieving $1 trillion economy, Maharashtra's industrial sector is working on this. Only a state of Maharashtra contributes to the 31% of the foreign direct investment which is coming to the India, and it is the single largest contributor. 70% of the work, 70% of the age group from 15 to 59 years is employable. We have 7 lakh graduates who are passing out from the ITIs and the skill universities annually. 64% of the service share is from the Maharashtra. 24% of the global capability centers are from Maharashtra. These figures just can show the scale and the magnitude of the Maharashtra's economic growth. Maharashtra contributes to the 15% of the export share, and this export share is powered by IT, gems, jewelry, engineering, automobile, pharma. 13% of the India's MSME comes from the Maharashtra state, and 30,000 startups are working for the betterment of the society and the state and the country. So what are the reasons for the Maharashtra's rapid growth? So this growth is led by the infrastructure augmentation. So Maharashtra's, if we check Maharashtra's road connectivity, rail connectivity, airport connectivity, we have 6,200 kilometers of the railway network. We have majorly 18 national highways, 2 major ports and 53 minor ports. Apart from this, 4 international airports, 7 domestic airports, and 15 airstrips and 3 upcoming airports. If we combine all these figures, Maharashtra will be the first state covering all the areas of the infrastructure in such a magnificent way. Upcoming major projects which can boost the development of the hinterland as well, Vidarbha region, Marathwada region. Vadwan port is the new upcoming project where government is investing around 8.8 billion USDs. This port will be one of the largest container port in India, along with the JNPT. Both of them will be considered as one of the largest in Asia. Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor, which runs through 6 to 7 districts of Maharashtra, can lead to big economic growth in this area. And if we consider the coal gasification projects, which are in the district of the Chandrapur and Gadchiroli, we can see that there is a dry port at Wardha, and the Samruddhi Expressway, which is a dedicated access control expressway, which covers 700 to 800 kilometers of the length in just 7 to 8 hours. So this connects directly to the JNPT and Vadwan port. Apart from this, one Dighi port is coming up, and this Dighi port industrial area is having 10,000 acres of industrial land adjacent to this port area. So this integrated approach gives the industry a golden opportunity to invest in Maharashtra. If we consider the Mumbai, which is financial capital of India, our Honorable CM is having the aim to make this city a world-class city, for which newly developed coastal road, then Trans-Harbour Link, and the Navi Mumbai International Airport will act as an anchor for the development. So how Maharashtra acts as a growth engine for the country. So we have focused on the main areas where the sectoral strength is core strength of Maharashtra, where automobile, pharma, metals, and the chemicals. We are investing in all these areas where the future golden opportunity for the industrial sectors are there. Considering the MIDC as the pioneer of the industrial development, state development agency, there are 300 plus estates in Maharashtra span over 36 districts and 355 talukas. 25,000 acres of land is with the Maharashtra Industrial Township Limited, which is a separate company of the Maharashtra government and MIDC. We have 2.5 lakh acres of land with the MIDC, and another 50,000 acres of land will be added to the MIDC's land pool in next 6 to 12 months. Further expansion is aimed at achieving 1.5 lakh acres of the industrial land in next 2 to 3 years. We are aiming to convert the industrial energy, which is required for the industrial growth. 45% of the energy will be coming from the renewable energy by 2028. So that will reduce the cost burden on the industries as well. And the 63% of the India's data centers will be in and around the Mumbai and Pune region only. So what has led to this massive growth? Because we are focusing on the ease of doing business. In last 2 to 3 years, we have succeeded in reforming 357 frameworks which were creating the disturbances to the industrial growth. 281 reforms have been already implemented. Apart from this, strategic initiatives will include sector-specific growth such as the textile, where we have PM Mitra Textile Park in Amravati. We have leather cluster, which is under development at the Dighi port. We have mango, cashew, and the marine parks. And manufacturing contribution for the economy is around 25%, which we aim to increase to 30%. So this dynamic policy ecosystem has led to this growth. Maharashtra is the only state where in last 2 to 3 years, more than 20 policies have been either revised or newly launched. So which are these policies? So we have a mother policy called as Maharashtra Industries Investment and Service Policy 2025. We have animation, visual effects, gaming, comics policy. We have GCC policy. We have bamboo industry policy, Maharashtra State Export Policy, Integrated and Sustainable Textile Policy. So all these policies will help industries to grow in a better manner. Apart from this, as our Honorable CM mentioned in his speech, the regulatory framework, the number of permissions required to be taken by the industry, we have reduced, and a digital platform and act has been enacted by the government of Maharashtra. That act is Maharashtra Industry Trade and Investment Facilitation Act and Rules 2023. This was done in 2023 to establish a transparent and investor-friendly framework for the industrial growth. So what are the key and significant aspects of this Maitri Act? So Maitri Act covers the Maitri portal as well. So in Maitri portal, we have AI chatbot, which is intelligent query resolution and guidance for the new investors. We have incentive calculator where a particular industry or the area, if we put in some inputs in that particular calculator, the particular investor or applicant can calculate the amount of incentives he will probably get from the Maharashtra's industry policy. Then there is the investor wizard, which is a step-by-step investment setup guide, which will help in boosting the startup ecosystem as well. There is 24/7 call center, NSWS integration, real-time dashboard, entity locker. All the documents of the applicant will be saved in a manner which is a safe digital locker, and digital verification just to avoid any kind of duplicacy. This is overview of the Maharashtra's coal production. We have more than 32 coal fields which are operational, and Maharashtra contributes to overall India's coal production 7 to 8%. So we have abundant coal supply for the coal gasification projects. Mainly these coal fields are concentrated in district of Chandrapur, Yavatmal, and the Gadchiroli. So now I will come to the Maharashtra government's initiative considering the coal gasification as a green energy future. So if you look at the chronology, in 2019, state government introduced the 2019 state industrial policy, and in that green energy production is officially included in thrust sector. In 2024, special incentives were declared for the thrust sector and high-tech projects with the investment of 10,000 crore plus. In 2024, Cabinet grants powers to subcommittee to amend and expand the thrust sector. And in 2025, which acts as a benchmark for this coal gasification, Cabinet subcommittee formally decides to include coal gasification as the thrust sector area. In 2025, high-level committee finalized the subsidy quantum which is to be offered to the coal gasification and thrust sector. So reason of coal gasification and downstream derivatives resolution 2024. So what is the reason for this particular initiative? That is planned to achieve 100 million metric ton per annum coal gasification by the year 2030, which is the aim of Government of India. So Maharashtra, being pioneer in many industrial initiatives, also want to contribute maximum to this area of coal gasification. So in thrust sector, which are the areas which are included in third sector: semiconductors, LCD, LED, hydrogen fuel cell manufacturing, laptop manufacturing, lithium battery and cell manufacturing, solar panels, pharmaceuticals, and now aerospace and defense and coal gasification is also part of the thrust sector. So if the coal gasification is included in third sector, then the investor can claim what kind of policy benefits. The tentative list is state GST reimbursement. We haven't shown the figures because figures are dependent on the particular package scheme of incentives, which depends on the area of the investment, amount of the investment. Apart from this, stamp duty exemption on project-related documents and term loans, electricity duty exemption, employee welfare contribution refund, interest subsidy, power tariff subsidy, technology transfer and know-how investment, captive vendor investment, land cost rebate, and the capital subsidy, which can be up to 30%. A customized package based on the area of the investment and the amount of investment will be offered to that particular investor. So taking the benefit of this, already 4 industry partners have come to Maharashtra and they have contributed to the coal gasification development of Maharashtra. Already 2 projects, they have started their construction, and another project, we are in the process of transferring the government land to that particular project. So Adani Nagpur Syngas and Chemicals Limited will be investing around 1,40,000 crore rupees in the integrated surface coal gasification, and we have identified land of around 289 acres, and it's in final stage of transfer to the Adani project. So the employment potential is around 5,000 direct and 25,000 indirect. New Era Clean Tech, this project is in Chandrapur district, where New Era Gasification Complex is coming up. Honorable Minister Sir has also attended this groundbreaking ceremony of this particular project. So investment is around 8,500 crore. Employment will be 15,000, and this project already construction has been started. Even the Greta Energy, which is also in Bhadravati Taluka of the Chandrapur district. This is also coal gasification plant having the investment of 10,000 crore. They have already started the work and different kind of approvals as well. And the CIL BPCL joint venture coal to SNG product is also there, which is a PSU project having the investment of 12,000 crore. And the 300 acres of land is already acquired under the Coal Bearing Act. So all these projects will contribute to the Government of India's vision. So this is my last slide. Why Maharashtra for coal gasification? So Maharashtra is the only state which have a separate policy for thrust sector, where coal gasification is included in thrust sector, where we are offering different kind of incentives. Apart from this, we have abundant supply of coal of good quality, where coal production is focused or concentrated in 3 to 4 districts. World-class infrastructure as shown in first 2 slides. This is the best infrastructure available in Indian state, any Indian state. A regulatory support where maximum number of permissions are given in online mode only, and the regulatory framework has been reduced to minimum number of permissions. Policy-backed momentum, where the coal gasification was included in thrust sector and the capital subsidies offered up to 30%. And the proven in investor confidence, because already 4 projects, they have been allotted either land or they are into construction phase. So this has clearly proven that Maharashtra is the leader in this coal gasification sector as well. So I can say that Maharashtra will be again leader in this sector as well. Maharashtra is committed to becoming a preferred destination for coal gasification investment. This state offers the combination of coal availability, industrial demand, infrastructure, and skilled manpower and the policy support. I thank Ministry of Coal, Government of India for giving me this opportunity to present Maharashtra's initiative in coal gasification sector. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.
Thank you, sir, for your presentation and clearly highlighting the state's progressive policy framework and the immense opportunities available for investors and industry stakeholders. Thank you so much, sir. Access to finance, as we know, remains a key pillar for industrial growth. To share perspectives on financing of coal gasification projects, may I now invite representatives from State Bank of India, Shri Satyendra Kumar Singh, DMD, and Shri Bhavani Shankaran S, CGM, PFSBU.
Respected Honorable Union Minister of, for Coal and Mines, Honorable Minister for State, Coal and Mines, and secretaries from Ministry of Coal and other secretaries and other dignitaries from of the dais. Good evening to all, and our sincere thanks to Ministry of Coal for asking us to make a presentation. All of us are fully aware of the opportunities which are available in the country for this coal gasification opportunities are there. And basically, India is blessed with abundance of coal, and we have about 400 billion tons of coal available in the country, and 47 billion tons of lignite is also available. And burning of coal is considered as a, what do we say, that a black industry type of thing, whereas coal gasification offers us a solution to this and making it as a green, cleaner technology for this. And this policy has been already launched and all of us are fully aware of it. By 2030, we need to have 100 million tons of coal gasification. And in 2024, government has approved a fund of 8,500 crore rupees for coal gasification. Similarly, latest now, in this process, we have funded one of the projects. As SBI is the pioneer in lending to countries' development, we have funded a project called Talcher Fertilizers, which is having 1.27 million tons per annum coal gasification based on urea, and which is having a project cost of 19,000 crore rupees. And we have funded as a consortium, and SBI is having a stake of about 3,000 crore rupees. And another project which is coming up, they have floated the tender and we took part in it, but we couldn't win it. Other lenders like Union Bank of India, Indian Bank, Canara Bank and PFC, they have won the bid and they will be funding this. So why do we want to say this is that we are, as a PSU or as a bankers, we are not averse to funding these facilities. Coal gasification is a priority area and we know that, and we have already demonstrated that we are funding or we are ready to fund this subject to project viabilities. When we consider 37,500 crore rupees with that 8,500 crore rupees which has already come, if we take it as 10% of the project cost which is from the promoter's side, we normally go for 70-30, and if that is 10%, you can see about 4 lakh crore of business we are expecting from the banker's side. And what is the project implementation, this life cycle? Primarily it is preparation of project developers, what are all the things they have to do, like they have to develop the project feasibility report, detailed project report, all these things they have to submit it. And very important thing is that land acquisition process, which is very important, and getting environmental clearances and other clearances, and they have to go for award of contract, they have to finalize what type of technology they are going to use it, what type of raw material, the coal, ash content and all these things. Based on that, they have to choose the technology supplier, the EPC contractor, all these things they have to finalize, and they have to come for financial closure. And when it comes for a financing structure, we generally see 70-30, that is 70% of the debt of the project, we are ready to fund to that. Remaining 30% should come from the promoter's side. They can use government grants or viability gap funding or pure equity or any kind of various structures they are nowadays bringing it. So it is 30% they have to bring, and the remaining 70% are lenders are ready to fund it as a consortium. We can sanction it as a rupee term loan. When they are importing machinery, you can use it as foreign currency LCs, foreign currency loans, and all these things we are, as a sublimit, we are ready to do it. And preferably we go for SPV funding so that it remains isolated from the main company, this thing. What are all the enablers which we are seeing it? See, basically the land acquisition is very, very critical, and environmental clearance from the Ministry of Forest and these things. These are all very important things because this plays a major role. And because of this, if we are not getting any clearances, we are not in a position to financially close it, and RBI norms are very, very clear. And second thing is that as far as Maharashtra is concerned, coal linkage is not an issue, whereas the other places wherever they are setting it up, then coal linkage is very important. Third thing is that the technology, as I said, these technologies are primarily we are dependent on foreign countries to supply this thing, and the licensing is very important thing, and the terms and conditions of the license needs to be properly structured in such a way that tomorrow there should not be any cost over escalation and all these type of things. And granting of EPC contracts, which is very, very large. You saw the Talcher Fertilizers project cost, which is 19,000 crore rupees. So we need to have a proper EPC contract with performance guarantees and all these things. Then whatever we do, one side is raw material, then the processing side. The third thing is that offtake arrangements. Offtake arrangements have to be there. I may be producing it, but if somebody is not willing to take at a remunerative price, or the price which is covering my project cost plus some return on my equity, then it becomes an issue. So that is bankable offtake MOUs with creditworthy buyers for primary products. And another thing is that how do they bring the equity? That is very important thing for us. Government may be giving some viability gap funding. They are also going by the phased this thing. In 4 stages they are giving. So based on the progress of the project. So depending upon the equity, visibility is very, very important for us. And the experience of the promoter. These are all not very run-of-the-mill type of the projects. They can start it and on its own it will get done. These are all very, very tricky things. NTPC type of people who are still developing these technologies and all these things, we saw that now they are going up to 3,000 tons per day type of this thing, which is under examination by them. So promoters' experience in this activity is very, very important. And as a banker, what do we see when we go for assessment of this thing? This plays a very, very crucial thing. First is equity visibility. Where do they get their 30% of the money? Because 20,000 crore is the project cost means. So 6,000 crore is their money. From where do they get their money? That is very, very important. So it is for very, what do I say that? It is the most critical thing. Where is their equity visibility and operational capability? Second thing is that land availability is an issue. 75% of the land should be made available to them for the project. That is very important. And third is that the partner from whom we are procuring the technology and what are all the terms and conditions. We have seen in some cases where there are certain issues which have created by the technology partner or the supplier or the licensor, whatever name we call, and that is getting stuck because of that. The cost gets escalated and all these issues. And support for the project implementation from the technology supplier is very, very essential. And long-term coal linkage, offtake arrangement, all these things. And financial incentives to bridge the gap between these two, market price and the output cost. These needs to be taken. And another important thing is that project implementation timelines. These are all very large projects. We cannot have a very, very tight timeline for say 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, I can implement it. It takes a lot of time and we don't know what are all the issues crop up in the ground. So sufficient cushion needs to be built in for the project implementation timeline. These are the few issues when we analyze any project report which comes for any financial assistance. This is what we primarily see. And what are all the things which can improve the project bankability? First and foremost request from our side is that Honorable Minister is there. You please try to make it as a part of infrastructure. Presently, coal gasification or fertilizer units, these are all not coming as under infrastructure financing. This needs to be accorded the status of infrastructure. That gives a lot of benefits to us, to the lenders also. We can, if there is any time overrun or cost overrun, lenders can fund it with some flexibility. Then land procurement, this is another issue. Many times they are facing lot of issues from land allotment or land procurement. A single window agency will help us to solve this issue. Then as we were seeing it, as a cluster this needs to be formed. Coal availability and the unit availability, the output usage industries, because n number of outputs can be taken out of the coal gasification. That needs to be, if all these things are nearby, then it adds the value and economics of the unit will also improve. Then another thing is that we are seeing about 20% of the project cost is for imported machinery. So the customs duty or the import duties, they play a major role. And if there is any import duty concessions are given by the ministry, that will help the project to get stabilized. Another thing is that the depreciation policy, accelerated depreciation if it is given, and that some kind of tax holiday if it is considered by the government, this will also help in project achieving the viability at the earliest. And some clearances like project monitoring unit, single window mechanism will help in lot of these things. Another issue is that some of the state governments are, because the land comes under the state government, so there is no uniformity about stamp duty of this mortgage creation and all these things. When you have a 20,000 crore rupees of project cost and 15,000, 16,000 crore is the debt, and 1% of that has to be given as stamp duty means, which is very, very high. So that adds burden to the project, which is at a very slender margin this is working. So this will also, any kind of green energy cess, green cess, or this mortgage, this thing, some kind of waiver by the state government will help in a very, very long way. And global technology partners, this needs to be some kind of government to government type of thing, G2G type of agreements if it is made for supply of this technology. That will help the, because sometimes they are facing difficulties in continuous supply over a period of 4 to 5 years during the implementation. This will help it. Technology transfer or support will be a, and great. My sincere thanks to the Ministry of Coal for giving an opportunity from our side. Thank you. And one thing we want to assure you that it is not a new thing for us. We are ready to fund it. Please bring the bankable projects to us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that insightful presentation on financing aspects of coal gasification projects, which has provided us clarity on financing opportunities and support mechanisms available to prospective investors and project developers. Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, संवाद से समाधान निकलते हैं और साझेदारी से परिवर्तन आता है. So we now open the floor for an interactive session with the Honorable Minister and our distinguished dignitaries. I request participants to kindly raise their hands for asking questions.
So if there are any questions, clarifications, suggestions, comments, please raise your hand. Somebody with a mic will approach you.
Sir, I have a doubt. There is a scheme which says an entity can claim 12,000 crore. However, there is something line, the project is having distinct physical boundaries. So does that mean a group has to put 3 different projects?
Okay, let's have first all the questions first, and then Additional Secretary will start responding to them.
Yeah, second question is that if we have to put 3 different projects, we have to put coal washeries. So if we combine the coal washery of 3 different projects, so this doesn't have a distinct physical boundary. Same utilities, we will be putting common utilities, common cooling tower. So how this is factored in? That will increase the capex.
Next question from anybody?
Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. I'm Narendra Srivastava from Uniseven Engineering Infrastructure.
Please use the mic, please.
Hello. Is it better now? So there's no question, but some clarification, like compressed biogas, CBG, injection has been, a policy has been approved, guideline has been approved by Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas through PNGRB, that CBG can be injected into the natural gas pipeline network or city gas distribution network. Now, our one product, which is SNG, substitute natural gas, which is as good as methane and equivalent properties of the same natural gas. So I think there should be some government guidelines to be given to the CGD operators, city gas distribution operators, and maybe to GAIL India Limited also, so that this SNG can be directly injected into the pipeline network. So this will actually help all the producers, those who are going for one product near the pit head actually. So this is a suggestion from my side. Maybe a clarity can be given from you all. Okay.
Namaskar. Thank you. Is anybody else speaking? Namaskar. Myself, Akshay Gaikwad. My question is that Indian coal, its main problem is its drift theory origin and the high ash content. So why is not government also promoting coal beneficiation, wherein we can target the root cause and not the other parts or the downstream aspects? Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, sirs. My name is Rajesh Kamath. I am from Tata Chemicals. We are looking to set up a specialty chemical plant in South, so that is in the planning stage. And we want to have an integrated complex, which of which coal gasification will be a part of it. Now, since it's a small chemical complex, the total scale is not large the way some of the projects were presented. We would need about 120,000 tons per annum kind of a coal gasification. So my question is, will we be eligible for this scheme? And second thing is, any support in terms of coal linkage, because there is no coal head in the vicinity, and ideally we would want to do the gasification, and since it's an integration plant, the gasifier has to be part of the complex. So will there be any support given for coal linkages? So these were my 2 questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity. I am Kunj Rajgaria from JMS Mining. My question is there any chance of bringing underground coal mining also into this scheme? Because so far it covers only surface mining. Thank you.
Hello, this is Malay Mittal. My question is that the supply chain of equipment would be equally important to achieve this very big target. And it is like 50 projects to meet the 100 million tons gasification. And I am from a Chinese company, and we would like to be part of this ecosystem. And we were made to understand that we can bid for these projects, and our approvals for participation in these projects would be made easier. But unfortunately, our experience has been different till now. So I would request if there can be some progress or some push in approval of equipment manufacturers, because China has a huge supply chain of equipment in coal gasification.
Good evening, sir. My name is Vivek Mishra. I represent Matix Fertilizer here. Currently, we are making urea from natural gas. We produce 15 lakh ton of urea every year. We find the cost of production is very high, extremely high, particularly in this situation. We are studying the production of urea from coal for last 2 years, and we find several hurdles in that. Number one hurdle we find the capex is extremely high. Today, if I put a urea plant from natural gas, if my capex is X, if I make it from the coal, my capex is 3X. These are the worked out figures in consultation with the PDI and all that. That is one. Second thing is, when I put a urea plant from coal, my gestation period is very long. You know, Talcher is almost in the 7th year, 8th year and all that. Even if you go through all procedures and all that, and coal linkage, then coal washery, then engineering, procurement, construction, commissioning, you know, you go to 5 to 7 years is a very genuine period. So investors find problem in the long gestation period and high capex. In addition to that, this 20% incentive, what earlier the incentive was 10 to 15%, as 20%, we don't find it's really adequate to ignite, thought process to go for a plant. It has to be more. It need not be in terms of money, but there are many other ways, like GST. When I do work out a project cost, we find 18% the GST cost. Means if I put a 10,000 crore project, 1,800 crore, nearly 2,000 crore is my GST. Some state governments are giving GST, but central government, there is no GST reduction provision for that. So that is one area, like power tariff. Then you say there are a lot of other things, non-financial incentives that you can get, or since the period is very high, gestation period is very long, then maybe some interest subvention for that period. So these are various factors that comes to our mind to be done. In fact, I was a part of Reliance Petco gasification project. I was site head there. I have seen this process, even if it takes, construction, the commissioning and stabilization also takes very long time. It doesn't mean like natural gas, you just open the valve, commission the plant. It doesn't happen like that. Coal gasification goes to many processes. The commissioning process itself is 6 to 8 months time. So if you see this, probably the incentive, in addition to financial incentive, because of some of evolution of GST, power tariffs, and interest subvention for a longer period. These are all we look for from the government to really to take it forward. We understand the importance, and I'm sure government will work on all these factors. These are the practical problem we have faced when you take an investment decision of 10 to 15,000 crore or 20,000 crore and all that. Believe me, sir, this coal gasification cannot be in a small scale. It has to be a standard plant. What this CGI and working 2 million ton. 2 million ton is a standard plant to be economically viable. Somebody said, put a 6 lakh ton plant or 12 lakh ton. Believe me, sir, with my experience, I'm telling, those projects are not viable. It has to be a 2 million ton plant. And the capex comes in the range of 12,000 to 15,000, 20,000, it all depends on the product profile. Unless the government comes forward with more incentives and all that, it is difficult for promoters to come forward. Thank you, sir.
Very good evening, sir. Myself, Suryanshu Chaudhary, representing Hindalco Industries Limited. First of all, whatever things we are discussing related to the incentive schemes, that 37,500 crores, that's mainly concentrating on the setting up the plant, capex plant for this gasification. But my question is just a bit about the clarification on the downstream side, especially when we are producing the urea, ammonia, ethanol, or whatever things. But how to make a resilience in the market, survival in the market? There should be some PLI schemes or something like that. Because today India is also importing a lot of ammonia and the urea. But if tomorrow the import price is coming down, then survival will be very difficult. Like presently there is green ammonia PLI schemes are like that. Similarly, in these gasification projects, whatever the ammonia, urea are producing, PLI schemes may be introduced. That will be better for the investors.
Good evening, sir. I am from EPC industry, and what is happening is all these supply chain concepts, when we are talking, it goes and stops till execution. The real challenge today India is facing, based on our experience in refinery and petrochemical and downstreams, is the availability of the contractors who are going to execute it at the end of the day. Now, some thought process in terms of timelines, in terms of how the project is going to be progressing, has to be given to ensure that the final target of producing the ammonia, urea, or any other chemicals which you are talking is achieved from government angle. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir. This is Anish Paunwala from Linde. So, in continuation of my co-fellow mentioned, India is definitely seen a long push on the gasification, but we are seeing that the progress is less. It's probably the economic viability as well as the execution and operational risk, including the technology risk, is giving some challenge. Now, obviously, to company like us or other MNCs to come, if you see all the documentation, it says we need to submit the detailed feasibility report to go for the either incentive or anything. And for any MNCs to even think that to put on the DFR, it requires a lot of global effort and the cost. And those companies usually struggle to get that approval without knowing that that project will kick off or not. So instead, obviously the incentive is welcome stage, but we suggest that any support to streamline, like we saw that there are 5-6 same size of the SNG projects, which is quite good, so that there is a prototypes and then it can be replicated in the same model. But can that be any support to create the DFR, which is more meaningful, where the more outside company can also come, create the right benchmarking for the project, and then it kicks off quite quicker.
Sir, this is Balasaheb from New Era Clean Tech. So just wanted to comment on some other success story like ethanol. So when government gave a protection from imports of ethanol, in certain chemicals, particularly if there is some off-take protection in support, like during initial few years through coal gasification, we might not compete easily with the cheaper gas price or other countries, border countries. But for few years, like ethanol success story we have with the blending mandate and import restrictions. So if similar can be considered for New Era, but for coal gasification, because for private sector, input and offtake are very important. Input is very well, ministry have done great job, and now on the, of course, scheme is great, And on that side also, if we can think something, then I think more and more ecosystem and industry will be coming forward.
Can we have it to be the last one?
Hi, sir. Sir, a question is regarding something similar what my friend from Linde asked. So usually we have seen that in other nations, support is provided for carrying out the pre-FID work, and which is very important because in order to attract the investor for final investment, we need a number to arrive at cost accuracy of plus minus 10 to 15%. For this, the project developer, sir, they have to hire an engineering consultant, they have to hire a technology provider to give them some data, and being a technology provider, so there's a work which we have to do and give it to the project developer. So it comes out only around $1 million or 1.5 million, but it's a cost which is involved. And how the projects are being done abroad is, this money is given in grant. So here we will not be giving a grant. It could be that some money or some funding is provided, and tomorrow when the project goes past FID stage, this money can be returned back. So a provision of that can be done that really helps the project mature from a concept stage to an FID stage, and it's ready where an investor can come and put in money, and the project can just fly. A support of that sort can be provided through VGF.
Last question, sir. I'm Vikas Kanwar from JSW Steel. Just sir, regarding RFP, let us suppose a company produces syngas to methanol and just stops at methanol, and another company takes methanol from that company. So I believe this policy lacks clarity. There is no value addition to that second company which is offtake of methanol. And next question is that there is a product capping of 9,000 crore. So in Annexure 1, there are total 19 products. If we eliminate SNG and urea, so 9,000 is allocated only for methanol or methanol derivatives? Because the cabinet has outlaid only 37,500 crores. So that bifurcation is still not well understood by us. Thank you.
Thank you for your questions. I'll try to take it sequentially. The first question was about the upper limit of 12,000 crore for a company, 5,000 crore for a project. In fact, we have tried to put in a definition in the RFP about what a project would mean. The question that has been raised is if there's a common washery or a common cooling tower. Basically, as far as our definition of a project is concerned, it has to be a standalone project. I mean, we understand that, yes, any project would have a common facility, but something which is specific to the project, it has to be, actually to be specific, will clarify a bit more through our RFP, but your point is well taken, and I mean, any common facility like road or a pipeline is fine, but when it comes to a washery or cooling tower, we'll have to take a view. I mean, with approval of Honorable Minister and Secretary, will clarify the same in the definition itself. The second question was about use of the gas pipeline for SNG. But we have taken it up with MOPNG, Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. We'll keep on pursuing it with them. But I mean, till the time we get the first project, I'm very sure we would have some breakthrough in that. And maybe you would be aware that we have got a project of Coal India Limited, under a joint venture of Coal India Limited and GAIL. And I mean, this would get sorted out in due course of time. Next question was about why do we not promote coal beneficiation, because Indian coal is of high ash content and we do have our own challenges. In fact, you would be aware that almost all the projects that are there right now, I mean, those which have got commissioned, like that of Jindal in Angul or the one that is commissioning in Talcher or any other, apart from the 8 that we have right now, every plant has got a washery installed for coal. And we understand that, yes, the type of coal that we have, beneficiation is a need and it would be an integral component. We do promote coal beneficiation, but as far as this project is concerned, I mean, a standalone coal system would be difficult for us, but there are a lot of coal washery units which are being set up by Coal India or maybe some private washeries, and we do have a provision to give them linkage. So we expect that in due course of time we would have washeries which would be able to give right quantity and right quality of coal to gasification units. But as of now, almost all of them do have it. So we say that, in fact, this is a part of the whole process. About a small project that was talked about by Tata Chemicals, our smallest size that we have envisaged, it has been mentioned in the RFP also, is 0.5 million ton of syngas. I'm not sure about the unit, but it's 0.5 million ton of syngas. Let me check that. But if it is less than that, it will not qualify under the scheme. This is something which is a part of the approval and will not be able to tinker with that. But you would be aware that we have got an ongoing scheme which was approved earlier, which was talked about by Secretaries also and Minister Saab also, that 8,500 crore scheme that had got a provision of a smaller schemes. In case we are able to get that through, maybe you can apply, else you will have to fit into this 0.5 scale in the new project. About the UCG scheme, obviously this scheme is only for surface coal gasification, and we do have some of the mines have been offered for UCG, and as of now, I mean, we do have no provision for UCG. If again the old scheme that we had the provision there in case somebody wants to get into that. As and when that scheme gets launched, you can apply there. Sinchuan is the case of supply chain of equipment and long delay in approval process by DPIT. We'll have to check your specific case, but maybe you are aware that about 6 months back there has been an approval by Government of India by a committee wherein a specific group category of equipment they have been permitted to be imported. So I hope your case would fall into that, but otherwise if there is a specific case that your equipment doesn't fall into that category of 6 category of equipment, we'll take it up with DPIT subsequently. We need a separate note and detailed note from your side so that we can take it up with them. Matrix raised the case of high cost of capex, which is about 3 times, which is through gasification compared to otherwise long gestation periods. We do understand the costs are higher in some cases. Maybe it would depend on from product to product. And you also raised the case that 20% incentive is not adequate. In fact, Government of Maharashtra official is here. They made a presentation in earlier ones. There are other states like Odisha, Telangana, Andhra, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh. All these states, they have got their own state incentives, and it's a whole of government approach. In fact, you also heard about the CCUS scheme of Ministry of Power. So it's not that this is just 20% of Ministry of Coal. In fact, this is one of them. There would be other incentives which would be available. You have to have your scheme which fits into the incentive structure of the states or of other departments or other ministries. I think Hindalco is the case of what happens when the import price goes down. Maybe I'll have to discuss a bit more. I couldn't get the whole intent of the question. I mean, the prices would fluctuate. The prices have been fluctuating, and over the last 5-6 years, they have, the band between the lowest and highest is about 2.5 times, we are aware. But what kind of support and at what point of time your plant gets commissioned, there would be issues in that. So maybe we need to have a separate discussion on that part. UPC India Industries is the question of ability of contractors to execute the project. In fact, again, this is what we have envisaged. We know that this is what the challenges have been in India. And important tenet of the scheme is that we want to promote indigenous technology for that purpose. And Secretary said in his opening remarks, he specifically told this. We want this to be a phenomenon where our contractors, the people who are in India, they get empowered and they are able to execute. Initially, the costs are higher. We don't have contractors here, but we expect in due course of time we'll have better capacities with them, and I mean the cost would come down. Linde talked about the cost. Linde and one other firm talked about the cost of supporting the cost of preparing DPRs and DFRs. Maybe we can think of that, but it's not a part of the project right now. So maybe we'll have to give a thought subsequently. New Era talked about offtake support and ethanol blending, which should be mandated through MOPNG. We have taken up with MOPNG, and we'll keep on having discussion with them. And it's not only ethanol, but for a whole lot of products, and not only for with MOPNG, also with fertilizers, with steel, we have been taking up with them. And this process will go on. We'll ensure at the level of Honorable Minister, at the level of Secretary, that these things are taken up, and offtake support as far as possible is ensured, because we also heard the bankers who wanted an offtake support. So we are on the job, but offtake is something that is a lookout of the project developer. We would give all support, all kinds of support at every level, but ensuring this would be your mandate. One question, the last question was about conversion from syngas to methanol, and somebody else using that methanol and using some other product. Our scheme is open only to preparation of syngas or some other product for that firm which has got an incentive, for that project which has applied for the scheme. Anybody who is preparing some other product from ethanol will not be covered. It's from coal to either syngas or any derivative which is a part of the initial project. So, if somebody else sells methanol at some point of time and something else gets produced, that will not be covered, because we will not consider that to be a project or a product under our scheme of things. I hope I've covered everything.
Thank you so much, sir. As we approach the conclusion of today's program, we reflect on the immense opportunities that lie ahead. Today's discussions have reinforced our collective commitment towards industrial growth, innovation, and nation building. I extend a special thanks to Honorable Union Minister of Coal and Mines, Shri G. Kishan Reddy Sir, Secretary, Ministry of Coal, Additional Secretary and Nominated Authority, Ministry of Coal, and Additional Secretary, Ministry of Coal, as well as other senior officials from the ministry, and all our presenters for sharing their vision, insights, and expertise. On behalf of Ministry of Coal, Government of India, we extend our sincere gratitude to all our dignitaries, industry leaders, investors, delegates, and stakeholders for their participation. Your enthusiastic participation has made this roadshow a truly meaningful platform for dialogue, collaboration, and opportunity. We look forward to your continued partnership in advancing India's coal gasification mission. I would like to remind you one last time that the draft RFP is in your hands and open for feedback until tomorrow. We urge every company, institution, and financial organization present here today to engage with it seriously, submit your comments, and participate actively in round 1 when it opens. Thank you once again for being an important part of this dialogue. We invite you to join us for networking dinner. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Safe travels.